What is up, YKTR Sports Nation? Welcome back into the new YKTR studio for a very special episode of the Sports Show. It's finals time. We're reviewing the semi-finals, rolling into the prelims. I am your host, Skipper Scope, joined always by producer Jacko and
Jack.
Triple AG.
What's going on?
Mace is in as per. Before we get into it, Mace, let's just the elephant in the room straight away. We had some micro that went viral last week. Reedy, he's having a little crack. He wasn't happy with what you said.
You want some
Let's
beef,
address
Reedy? You want some beef, Reedy, or what? Come on, mate. You want some? It's all in good. It's all in good spirits because Reedy, he did message me.
Yeah.
He slid into my DMs, you dirtbag.
Yeah.
Anyway, he just said, "Look, boys, at least spell my name right." You know what I mean? Like it's just a matter.
So
of...
who's that on? Is that on Lukey?
That's on you.
That's probably Lukey's got a little bit in that too.
We'll get his name right this time.
Yeah.
Ready, Reedy. You know, it's his opinion versus my opinion versus our opinion. You know?
Yeah.
Like players' perspective versus journo's perspective. You know, and a lot of people sat with us because they understand my point of view, and they understood that the games are controlled by refs. And it's simple. You watch that game again, man. If he made a couple of decisions like we talked about last week, like they don't lose control of that game. 100%. And then he comes out and he says, "What did he say this week?"
No, it's whether it doesn't matter what he says, whether what he's saying is right or wrong. And this is like not even having a crack again. It's just credibility because you've gone out, that's the point of it. Like you've been out, you've been a part of those situations. So when he comes in and has his point of view, whether it's right or wrong or you believe it or you don't, most people are going to side with you, mates, because you've fucking been out there in the biggest moments and you've made your mark.
Exactly.
And
because that's the thing, you know, and that's the thing because like, you know, if the more I looked at his comments, our comments, and I'm just like, wow, like that was just pretty stupid from Reedy. You know what I mean? Like you got to understand if the ref spoke to these young men like men instead of kids, and you got them all in, you got Victor Radley, you got all the firebrands, you know what I mean? You got both your captains, you get them in here, you get them in, you talk to them like men. Next one's going off. End of story. You don't want to be like that's the elimination game. You don't want to let your team down. That was my point. So if you spoke to them like grown-ass men, and you would not have had that problem. Victor would have calmed down. Tom would have calmed down. Hargraves would have calmed down because both of those guys have such influence on those games. And in the middle, it's built in the middle. You know, Victor's a crazy dude, man. He wants smoke all the time. Hargraves is that leader. You know what I mean? There's the two firebrands. Then you got Tom Burgess. He's not going to stand down. Totola's not going to stand down. You know what I mean? But all the rest you just got to manage. They'll fall into line if you get the main dudes to fall into line because you're not going to get Cam Murray throwing out elbows and all that kind of stuff because he don't roll like that. Jai Arrow doesn't roll like that, but he's got it in him.
Yeah, Jai's got
a little bit in him. You know what I mean? But all these other back rows, other front rows, you know, like Crichton, all these sort of blokes.
Yeah, they toe the line.
They're gonna toe the line
unless it gets out of control.
Unless you get it out of control, and you look at your leaders going out there and they're playing like that. You want to play like that because there's no repercussions to it.
100%.
Like, shit. Oh well, they ain't sending us off. I'll do 10 just for that. I'll do 10 to get Tom Burgess off. That's what I'm saying. That was my point. You take my captain off. You take our best player off, and you're still on the field. Shit's going to get down.
I always like to give credit where it's due as well. So the week before, I sort of said like Ashley Klein shouldn't be reffing this week. He did a good job this week. He handled it a lot better. Like it was a game with not as much emotion. Or I think it was the Parramatta Canberra game. Lukey did Ashley Klein have straight away. I like Grant Atkins who did the second game again. He did the Rabbitohs Sharks game.
Where do you get ruled on? You get ruled on the biggest stage, right? And that was the biggest stage. That South versus Rabbits elimination final, the biggest tribal game.
He's got Panthers versus South.
You know what I mean? Now he's got Panthers versus South. That's
going to get emotional.
That will be because I think that's pretty much the grand final.
Yeah,
it sucks, but like they're both on the wrong side. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, like I think just because of that one game where he lost control, I think the NRL or whoever like does all the refs, they won't give him the job. Before
we get into the best rigs, brought to you by BUDGY Smuggler, mate. I just want to roll like during your time. Obviously, we're talking a little bit about like journos here with Reedy. You got it's like obviously a relationship with him. Who's some of the best ones like over the years? I like what Jake Duke's doing at Fox Sports doing. Like if you're not aware of him, like. Yeah, sometimes we get a little bit like anti-Fox with our takes or get into them, but I love what Jake Duke's doing at Fox.
I just like people who understand the game, analyse the game, don't get too critical of players, especially if you haven't played the game. We're both big NFL fans, our ESPN, and NBA fans, like the way that they critique games, Stephen A. Smith and all these sort of blokes. I mean, he gets a little bit personal now because it's a little bit Hollywood over there as well. But like
Skip and Stephen A. They're more.
Skip. You got
there's a narrative now.
Shannon Sharp can sort of say what he wants, but I sort of, when you get players like Billy and all that kind of stuff who played the game, they get free range. Yeah. Freddie, Joey, whatever. Say what you want. But when you're like, Lavossi and you've got Jake Duke and like people who love the game, analyse the game, critique the game in a professional manner and a respectful manner, I love them all.
Yeah,
I love
Vossi's
those
always
guys.
been good.
I really have a lot of respect for them. But like these journos who were just like, writing for the Herald and everything, a couple of years ago, and obviously they're their own, Triple M sort of, it's a big conglomerate, aren't they? They all work for the same, they're all getting paid from the same people. Now they're saving money, really. All right, well, you can just do Triple M in that now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just because you write good stories doesn't mean you're a good analysts of the game. So they've got all these journos taking all these spots on Triple M and whatever, SEN, all that kind of stuff. When you got former players, I understand. I love seeing former players getting on there and saying their part and analysing games really good. I think a lot of players are really good at that. But I think the journos maybe should you have a look at 360. Paul Kent, I don't mind PK. Buzz, right. Buzz he's a great editor, great writer, but like, is he made for TV? He looks like he's going to fucking fall asleep. I love you, Buzz. You know what I mean? But like, and then you got Paul Crawley. His head is not for fucking TV. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you got these blokes sitting there who just write great stories for the Telegraph because you don't get to see their fucking head. But then when you see him on 360, I'm continually looking at Braith. He's a good-looking cat. Yeah, I love Braith. I love the Bob. But I'm just like, and I reckon PK's does a pretty good job as well. Like they all do job. It's just like you're just sort of taking other people's roles. Stick to like you're already in the Telegraph or the Herald or whatever you're doing. You're on Triple M. You're on all these fucking little
Bunsons everywhere.
You're everywhere. So it's just like I just sort of get sick of seeing their fucking heads. Unless you got something real positive to say, but they sit on there and they just bag the game sometimes. It's like, dude, the guy, you're making money from the game.
But that's what sells and gets the views.
I know, but it sucks. It's so negative. I'll give you a perfect example. That South African game, the Wallabies game, South Africa versus the Wallabies. Yep. It was a massive fucking all-in brawl. Did you see anything on Telegraph? Did you see anything on Fox Sports? Did you see anything? Or what did you see? A before and after shot when they were going crazy like that, and then after they were shaking hands. What a gentleman's game, because that's corporate Australia. That's corporate. We're not corporate.
That's interesting. So
you have a look. If that was a fight, you're not allowed to fight in union. You're not allowed to fight in league. But if you ever seen fucking all-in brawl like that, if you saw that league, they didn't even show it on any other platform. They didn't show anything. That's the difference between league and union. We would have been front, back page on every single fucking story, 7, 10, 9, Fox, lead story. Look at these animals. People would have got sent off, everything like that. And so that's the image that they want to portray of our game. And then it just gives all the journos, gives everybody the right to fucking sit there and just hammer us again like we're Neanderthals. We don't know what's going on. We haven't even had a massive fight. If you ever watched that game, if you watched the game, it's a fucking full-on punch-up, that South African game.
I didn't see it.
It was a flat-out punch. It was a full-on all-in brawl. You saw it.
Yeah,
but it never got played. It never got played.
You love the Staffers, eh?
I fucking love it.
But that never got played on any replay or anything like that. But if that was rugby league and there was an all-in brawl, it's everywhere, and it's playing. They look at these thugs, look at this, and that's how they portray the game. That's the image of the game. That's what it is because corporate Australia doesn't back the NRL. There's no banks sponsoring our game, are there? There's no big conglomerates like that. We get like betting agencies, beers, all that sort of shit. We don't get fucking CommBank or NAB and all those big dogs. They stick to union. That's the difference. Yeah, that is the difference, and that's power. That's power. So it's corporate power. So that's News Limited. So that's everyone like that. So they portray the game in the best light. We don't get portrayed that, but that's just the way it is.
Well, you know what? Rolling straight into it. Speaking of ordinary rigs like Buzz and Crawley and heads that just shouldn't be on TV, let's roll into.
What about Brave's rig?
Yeah, Brave's got. Brave's.
He's. I think he's getting back into it.
Yeah.
These are the Hello Sports boys. Yep. They showed a pic of him when he was in his prime,
and it got him back.
And it got him back. He thanked the boys. I think he's on their potty the other week.
Zach Bailey's the best looking journo.
Zach Bailey's a good dude. Zach Bailey's he's mates with Gutho and all those boys. So
Zach Bailey, what's he do?
He was with NRL.com for a minute. I think he does stuff with 9 now.
Yeah.
But he was there when I was there.
They don't become big dogs, Mace, unless they throw people under the bus.
Yeah,
so he's
a
good guy journalist. I think he's got a lot of respect with Gutho.
Sorry, back to what I was like. Danny Wilder's always been good with me.
Yeah,
he's always been good. I mean, a lot of other players hate him because he's, they've done the wrong thing, and he'll get you. He'll get you. He will get you. But I've always had a great relationship with Danny ever since I was like since I hit the scene when I was 19, 20.
Yeah. Even when you had little misdemeanors, he's still good to you?
He'd always be like, he'd
exactly
call me
what happened
before I report anything. And he'd get my thing and it wouldn't be a story because he'd hear it from me first instead of going bang, 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 hearing it from other sources, which weren't, the main source is me. I know what the fuck happened. You know what I mean? So he'd always come to me. Like Paul Kent has always been good. Most it was like a love-hate relationship a little bit because I didn't really do anything that bad, but I just didn't really give a fuck what they said. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I went through life shit when I was a young kid. Do you think I'm going to give a fuck what the Telegraph or Fox Sports says about me? You know what I mean? Like, I went through, when you go through life shit as a 17-year-old kid, like I buried my dad when I was 17. So like, just before I come down to Sydney, I can speak about it now because like, I'm 42 years old. But like, when I first come down, like you couldn't fuck with me ever. Not mentally, not like that, not on a paper or anything like that. Oh my God, I'm really going to ruin this kid's life, please. You know what I mean? Like I already went through life shit. So when you go through life shit, I think that's the hardest thing a young man has to do. Do you think he's going to really care about you, journalists, or anything like critiquing my game? And plus, I was killing on the field anyway, so they couldn't critique it.
That's a part of the business, though, isn't it, mate? Understanding the media side of it.
I always understood the media side. That's the thing. It was never ever any beef where I was just like, I fucking hate journos, where you see some players that really they still carry those grudges now. I roll into places like that, man. I'll shake Bulldog's hand. Me and Bulldog had a crack a couple of years ago.
Bullfrog.
Yeah, no, the Bulldog, and then like we just laughed about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's his opinion versus my opinion. I didn't like what he said. I called him out on it. I get it. This is how it is. Like now I'm in this sort of game. You know what I mean? I'm not a journalist or anything. I'm not on that level. I don't want to sit there and write fucking articles and all that kind of stuff. But I do like critiquing the game and what we're doing now. The beauty of it is the whole
it's always constructive.
The whole blueprint's changed.
Yeah.
The whole platform's changed because it's up. We can sit here on a podcast right now. We have creative control about what we say. You're on anything else. I know. I've been on Fox Sports, man. There's a narrative. There's a narrative and an agenda there that they want to pump through, and I'm like, I wasn't down with that shit. I'm too real to be on that kind of stuff. So imagine being like, I would just
brush on the YKTR Sports show,
That's what I'm here.
baby.
That's why I started my own sort of platform because it's 2022 and you can do what the fuck you want.
You know, it was one of my favourite quotes from when we went to the UFC when Izzy Adesanya called out, I think it was maybe just after he fought, and he's like, just remember, we can do your jobs. Like, essentially, if we wanted to do what these journalists do, because we get more mail than anyone. Like, we know all the boys that either off contract
the Daily Mail myself.
Or if there's dramas at a club.
Daily Mail. Just
the Daily Chair Evans Mail. Like, we could easily do all that shit, but we could do your job if we wanted to, but we'd prefer
that's exactly right.
We'd prefer to be positive.
Yeah.
Or constructive criticism. But it's just like the Ashley Klein thing.
As you were saying before, they have to be that to get to there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so you get these young kids. You get these young kids that they have their first thoughts are like, I want to be positive about the game. It's just like, but positive doesn't work in this society.
Work. They get into
it doesn't work. So they've got to fucking near sell their soul to try and sell shit so they can get a little bit of clout and get their name up to try to climb the corporate ladder. And I sort of understand that, but I feel sorry for them as well because they're genuine. They have a genuine love and passion for the game at the start or the sport, whatever sport they're in. And then it's like, fuck, I'm still sitting here like for the last 3 or 4 years doing positive shit on people. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to take a fucking page out of PK's book and buzzers and all that sort of shit. And just try and get on 360 and all that sort of shit.
We're going to keep chipping away at it here at the YKTR Sports Show, though. And we're going to keep rolling, just like Braith is, chipping away at his rig. So therefore, he wouldn't be part of Australia's most ordinary rig from our friends at BUDGY SMUGGLER. The updates are all coming in. They've been getting, make sure you're sending in your submissions. It closes on October 3rd. The top 10 will be flown to Sydney at the Ivy Pool as per. It's a great event. You've probably seen Micro through it in the past. It's hosted by our boys, the Hello Sports Podcast boys. I want to be there at some point. I haven't hit them up yet. We've got to get there, mate. We'll just go get in there and get on the beers because that's a part of the criteria as well, by the way. Being a good bloke, getting on the beers, ordinary rig, fucking 10K for the winner, half to charity, local club. Help your fucking self, mate. That's one of the best ad reads I've ever done in my life.
That's a fucking beauty.
That was on fire, right?
Well done, Skip.
Let's roll into 6 of the best,
Let's roll into 6 of the best. Look, we've got obviously a shitload of footy chat, but you guys touched on it off here. I just want to sneak it in on you.
Yeah, go on.
Shout out to the big fella Jordan Mailata, speaking of ordinary rigs.
The Eagles. The Eagles are a problem,
Philadelphia Eagles. Skip, what did you make of Mailata? Well, just talk about why you guys were chatting about Mailata before we came on here.
Yeah, and Mace come in. We were talking about it in the office yesterday. Like, it's crazy how far he's come from being a rugby league player 3 years ago. He learned from one of the best in Jason Peters, one of the best left tackles of all time. He had Lane Johnson on the right side, so he started off on the right side. But, mate, he's one of the top 5 left tackles in the game at the moment.
He is, man. I think he's going to be Pro Bowler soon. You know what I mean? Like I think
he might have been close last year, bro.
Yeah.
Second ballot?
Yeah.
Second ballot Pro Bowl, maybe?
And if Philly
Someone
keep
will
going,
correct me
Philly,
in the
Philly
comments.
keep going like that. I mean, like I think he let him one sack from that Hunter dude, who's a mad edge rusher. But like no one gets past him. He's a big, 6 foot 8, 160 kilos, and can move.
They got him.
They got him 166.
166 kilos.
But I don't. But you know how you
And they'll
see
keep
some,
feeding him
but you
too.
see how some O linemen look. You know, they look a little bit overweight. You know what I mean? He don't look like he's overweight.
Yeah.
That looks like good, solid 160, like proper
Mate, put that
Polynesian beast, bro.
Put that into perspective, people, because you're one of the biggest humans I've ever seen. What was your heaviest in terms of playing? Like, when would you?
120. Fuck. Max. Yeah.
166.
The Coltrane was $135 at
Yeah, the
Dave Taylor.
Coley could put it on. He's a thick boy. He was a thick boy.
Dave Taylor when we were at Catalans together.
135, bro. Chip and chase, and he's fucking 020.
Nothing better than when he used to weigh himself in the morning and tell Porky straight away because you have to fill out your weight and that.
Yeah.
And then me and Toddy Carney and that would be looking over, just seeing what he's like, writes down. He'd put down like 128, 130. Cunt was like 136.
Yeah, 136. Mate, he was one of the most skillful players. I love the Big Coley. Shout out to Big Coley.
You've played with some greats in terms of like skill wise. In terms of like speed, power, skill, chip and chase, to pass the footy. Me, he's up there with Hainsey.
Go back to 2012 when he had a red hot crack. Straight in the Australian side, Origin. So his natural talent got him to that. But obviously the hard work, the weight problems and all that kind of stuff, it sort of weighed on him a little bit. And I keep forgetting, I mean, how young he was when he was when we were in the Catalans. Like I was 36, bro.
Yeah.
Did not give a fuck. Dude's 28.
Yeah, he was a bit of
28. Like he was 28. It was like that's prime. You're supposed to be in your prime right there. I'm like, what are you doing wasting your fucking time over here?
Yeah.
I mean, he just like, you know, sometimes some people aren't just cut out for the week in, week out grind of like, you know, the NRL. And because that kid, if he had like just that one person or that great coach just to sit there and just fucking ride him every single day. But I think that's what nearly drove him away. He did have Wayne, but he had like when he left Madge
and he went
in
to
2012 and then he went to the Titans just to sort of cruise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I think he needed a Madge. He needed a Wayne Bennett to hold him accountable straight.
Did he have Bennett at Broncos and then Madge at South?
And then Madge. And then he went, you wouldn't even, I don't
Who
even
was
know.
Who was the Titans?
I think Cartwright, Neil Henry.
Cartwright.
So he had all those guys, but one of the nicest blokes, one of the most genuine
good
people.
fella. Real good
like
fella.
just don't look at the exterior and think he's a big brute and he just doesn't know anything. Quite smart, quite articulate. Fucking just loves having a good time.
Can murder a schooner. Like, this cunt can murder a schooner.
Mate, he's the one.
These two, like,
he's one of the best.
Our Siri Lang over at fucking
Mate.
Catalans, like,
Mate, I thought my life, just say 36 years old, I'm like, yeah, it's not going to, you know, because I had an opportunity to stay here. I was like, fuck that, I'm going straight over to the Catalans. So I knew the gang that was over there. I'm like, I was just thinking, I want to finish out on a bang, like, you know what I mean? Like, and we were like, what about the coach was like, it was a place called, was it the city, the Street of Thirst? Was it called?
Rue de la Soif.
Rue de la Soif. So like we lived
The Street of Thirst.
and this is where we all lived around that. So in the summertime, it goes just say from 150,000 people living, 200,000 people living in Perpignan, it goes to nearly 1 million people. They got these fucking beach cabanas all along where we're right where we live. And then the coach is like, "Oh, not drinking tonight, huh?" We're like, "Yeah, no worries." Straight on the fucking train, straight to Barcelona. Barcelona was an hour away. It'd be like us going on a train now to Gosford.
Yeah, yeah.
That was, he goes, "No, we don't want you drinking. We didn't play good." We're like, "Yeah, fucking no worries. See you later." Who's coming to Barcelona? Fucking 12 of us.
Oi, I swear to God, we were
12
like,
of us.
with our gang that we had there. It was obviously like myself, Dave, Toddy, Gifty, Glenn Stewart was there. Paulie Aiton was a fucking lunatic,
Yeah,
by the way.
Paulie.
We were like in a volcano that was ready to erupt, and that erupted when Mace got there after like week 5. and then all these fucking rocks just start fucking shooting out of this.
I told him, man. I told him my first.
We were first going into summer, and then we ended up just scraping in and making the 8.
Yeah.
We were first equal.
We won 17 from 18.
Yeah, we were on
17 from 18.
And then some hit.
But I told him, I told the coach, I said, look, we've got a pretty loose team here. I said, I can either help you or I'll fucking ruin it. I'll set it off. You know what I mean? He goes, I don't need your help. And I said, look, it's a pretty loose gang here. I'm not sure what you got here, but I do. I said, they respect me. They'll listen to me. If you give me a little bit of power, I can help you.
Yeah.
If not, I'll be your worst fucking enemy.
Yeah, it was. He had.
See you later.
That ended him. He hasn't coached since that coach. That was the end.
I'll ruin your career.
Well,
the baguette
rolling on nicely. Joey had some words to say about you as well, mate.
Did you see this, mate?
On the Immortal show. Speaking of murder in a schooner, he reckons you can murder a Macca's order.
Is that a porky or is that one of his porkies?
No. We were out there.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to add on to anything. I think he missed out on about like 6 cheeseburgers. I reckon a couple more large fries, some nuggets would have been thrown in there.
What's the go-to order then? Hit me. If you're hungry and feeling it.
I try and stay off that shit, but if I'm going to go
if you're having a piss and at a game, you fucking treat yourself.
And I had a fairly big weekend. It was like at least like a Big Mac meal would be like double cheeseburger, 2 double cheeseburgers, about 3 cheeseburgers, 2 large fries, 10 nuggets, something like that. I just like to pick.
That's good order.
You're looking like Jordan MAILATA soon.
I haven't eaten McDonald's in ages, but Joey got me on that. It was a positive story. He had to fucking flip it around too.
Yeah, but he was talking about stories. I think they were more worried about like people wanted stories.
No, they wanted stories. You know what I love about Joey? He's solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Didn't even budge. I love you, Joey.
Yeah, no,
I think he knows. Because the exact same stories.
Yeah, the stories. If you ever at like luncheons or you get to hang around Mace and you have a beer with like Joey, because Joey was our assistant coach.
Watch your feet, yeah.
Yeah, fuck, there was some good ones.
Yeah,
I've heard them all off Mace, and then I've heard some more off him.
Yeah, he's one of the greats.
He's like, there was one time we were sitting on the balcony and he goes, he started telling the story and he goes, no, and this one's true. So, and then I started thinking, I was like, which ones weren't true? he says it all the time. He'll start off, he'll watch him on Channel 9, like when he does the Immortal show.
It's the best.
That's one of my favourite shows to watch. Danica just hosts him. And
how good is Danica Mason? She's one person that I think that is.
And
she's easily the best like female host easily in
I like
in
James
Australia.
Brayshaw. Is it James Brayshaw? Is that
not
his
female? Not even female. It's just
good.
like host. I reckon she does such a great job.
She does. Because she knows, obviously Joey said all the stories, but the beauty of that show is it's just him telling like yarns, but he obviously holds a little bit out, but you can tell he's like...
You can tell he wants to
yeah, he wants to unload,
Because every time like, just say Joey and I, we catch up for a beer and we just sit there and we know we've heard each other's stories 10 times, but they just keep getting better. By the time we're 60, it'll be like fucking 40 cheeseburgers.
All right, let's rip into a bit of footy chat scope. I'll paint a bit of a picture for you and then I'll get you to respond to this one. But obviously the dramas at the moment swirling around the Broncos ranks is kind of the big topic. The alleged rift between Benny IKIN and KEVVY Walters. Now what's happened subsequently is Gordy's come out. Gordy's obviously very close with KEVVY and he's basically said that there's no need for football outside of Gus Gould. He thinks that football directors are a made-up title and basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically saying that Benny IKIN should kind of stick his nose out of football operations business. Obviously, the Broncos season started with such a high. They were sitting 4th with 8 weeks to go, and then it all collapsed. But what do you make of the Broncos drama, and specifically Gordy's comments around Benny IKIN?
Mace, like it's just, I suppose it's just like a general manager over in, like that's the tag that you give to someone. I think it's important. I reckon Benny IKIN's done a great job assembling the squad that he got up there this year. And I'm keep saying this, and again, like I don't want to see people get sacked, but like this is going to happen. Like KEVVY's, for me, he's not one of the best coaches. So all this sort of rumblings and stuff is going to happen, and it'll come back to like what I think's happened is IKIN probably feels like he's put together a finals caliber side, and KEVVY hasn't got the job done. And whether KEVVY can get the job done next year is like that's yet to be seen. But they've got to somehow come together because, like I revert back to with NFL, there's so much more access to like how all that stuff works. So there's podcasts that you can listen to. I listen to a lot of podcasts on like GMs, and the one thing that stands out from all the general managers, there's a guy who used to be the general manager. His name's Les Snead. He used to be the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, mate. You'll love it. I'll send it to you. And he goes and he went around on a tour and he interviewed all the general managers. And the one thing I took out of it is you've got to be in sync. Yeah. And if you're not in sync, it's not going to work. And it doesn't matter who is the problem and who's not. You've got to find some middle ground. And for me, look from an outsider looking in, and a little bit that I know about players that are not with KEVVY right now, but players who have been under him at a certain point of their career. It's just like we keep saying it. He's a good bloke. He's going to be like a club legend, but tactically he's probably not as sound as some other coaches. So it's probably this problem's probably going to rear its head again in the future.
I just think head coaches cop a little bit too much these days. Because I just think they need to be surrounded by good teams themselves, not the players. assistant coaches. Like it's getting more NFL-ish.
They sacked their assistant coach Terry Madison last week, and his brother Steve Walters.
Do you know much on Terry Madison?
Yeah, Terry Madison, Steve Walters, like Cartwright. You got all these blokes who played in that sort of 80s, 90s sort of era. You know what I mean? You need fresh faces.
Yeah, I agree.
Fresh faces. You know, guys that played in the 2000s, 2010s. Our sort of stock. You know what I mean? That's where you see a lot of guys like Benny Hornby, Rilesley, Fitzy, all these sort of guys are really infiltrating the NRL right now. And those guys are sort of going by the wayside because it's a boys club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's just got all these mates around him. You know what I mean? And there have been great coaches in the past and there have been good players and everything like that. But surround KEVVY with some brains, some really smart half plays. I mean, he should know a lot of half play, but all KEVVY has to do is manage egos and characters and get these kids up for 80 minutes of football a week. That's all he has to do. Assistant coach, the middles coaches, backs coaches, halves coaches, outside backs coaches, and then it all collectively comes in as a team. So I think just say middles coach, you got edge coaches, you got back five coach, you got halves coach. You have single coaches for all these people now. And then you just do your job, and then collectively you come in as a team, and then you get the result done. And it's up to the coach to manage that whole thing. Yeah. That's all he's doing. He's not sitting there trying to tell Adam Reynolds how to kick. Adam Reynolds got his own kick catch coach and he's got his own halves coach and all that kind of stuff. He'll have that. Or if KEVVY wants KEVVY wants to put in, he'll put it in. But he oversees the whole thing. That's all head coaches do. It's like football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. That's why they call them managers.
Yeah.
You know, you're a football manager. You manage the team. You're not the coach. You know what I mean? You manage egos, you manage all these characters, and you try and get them together imagine trying to coach some Africans, Italians, Brazilians, all that kind of stuff. Speaking people can't even speak the same language. That's what you got to manage. You know, obviously in Australia it's a little bit different, but you've got different people here.
Yeah, different backgrounds.
Different backgrounds and that now.
Polynesians to Aussies to Pommies.
You've got just even a lot of Lebanese kids are playing football at the moment. You've got Pommies, you've got everyone. You've got
Pommies and Aussies are completely different cats.
Totally different. So I think for the head coach, you just got to oversee it. Especially for a young coach, you just need to oversee things, but surround yourself with great minds and great people and people that want to help the club be great. You know what I mean? Like, don't just sit there because these blokes they're on the gravy train for the last fucking 20 years.
Yeah.
A lot of these coaches have been. You have a look at it, it's just like a merry-go-round because, like, you know what, Nathan Brown will probably get an assistant, he'll probably go somewhere else, and then someone else, you know, like Madge will get another job. It's just like, it's a load of shit. Like, man, when's your expiry done?
Yeah.
Maybe you just can't do it. Maybe you're not that good a coach. Maybe you need to start looking elsewhere.
Maybe the game's past you.
Maybe the game's past you. Like you've had so many chances, and I'm not naming everyone. You know the coaches that have been on the carousel for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
they're everywhere. So it's just like it's up to the GM, but it's up to the GM to decide who the coach is going to. That's Benny IKIN's job, right? He needs to decide, and he's there all the time. Do the players relate to him? Are they listening to him? Do they respect him? Do they listen? You know, all these little things, all the little variables to become a good coach. He's getting judged on that all the time. So that's what good GMs do. Guys like Gus, he will control all that sort of shit. A guy like Wayne, Wayne will oversee everything because he's like a GM player. He's like a GM coach. You know what I mean? Like he'll see that. He'll oversee all that sort of shit, and you trust Wayne. You know what I mean? But he's got great assistant coaches, great analysts, all that sort of stuff. Analytics. He's got it all. You know, like Robbo's the same. You know, like who else? Like
why do all these coaches start
Bellamy.
getting it? Like Robbo, Bellamy, and now it's even happening with Ivan. These guys don't have egos. So what they do is they get the best possible assistant coaches in there because they're not threatened by them, and they have guys in there that are potentially going to challenge them. You need guys that are going to challenge you, right? So it can't be. I says it all the time. Too many yes men, right? If you're a coach and everything's your way, and then no assistant coach, like at the end of the day, they've got to show. I've had this in the past. You've got to show a front, like a togetherness front towards the playing group. But if you don't have assistant coaches in there that aren't going, what about this? 100%. You know, what are Penrith doing? Like, I've seen Melbourne doing this. Can we tweak this a little bit? If it's just like a few of these guys like Mace is talking about with regards to KEVVY, he might have all these guys like Cartwright. And I'm not saying this is exactly
what happened. He's got Steve Walters, he's got Cartwright, and he's got Terry Madison.
Yeah.
Boys,
they're all playing in the 90s, 80s. Yeah. They're his boys. I'm not, no disrespect.
They'd probably think the same too.
If I end up being a coach, you know what I mean, one day, I'm probably going to bring the guys that I trust more, that understand the game. You know, not just because they're my mates. I want to win. You know what I mean? And he's on the clock, big time.
Well,
KEVVY next year. He's on the clock.
Question, yeah.
Because if he doesn't make the 8, then he's going to be done because then they'll understand because they're going to be good next year. They're going to have the same roster. Probably got the young kids. They're going to have a second year, the Cobbos and all that kind of stuff. More relationship. Reece Walsh. You're going to have Tony Staggs will probably be pissed off that he didn't have such a big season that we thought he was going to have. You know, Corey Oates, I think he might be still having. I think he's re-signed. He's re-signed, which is great. I love seeing that. Contract year, killed it. Absolute genius.
Love that.
Joey Tapane, contract year, best forward in the world. Fucking ridiculous. They fucking Sticky put him in reserve grade last year. You know that?
Yeah. It's crazy, yeah.
Unbelievable. So, but coaching is all about it's getting more, as you said, like NFL adapted to the NFL. So you're gonna have a lot of coaches. You can have your assistant coaches, whatever. You just sit in the fucking box and whatever. I'm never going to do that. I want to just be like a specialist coach.
Do you agree with Gordy then, or you at the mindset that general managers are needed at football?
Yes, 100%. Because they've got to make the big decisions on who's going to be the coach.
Gordy be saying that because Ben Ikin's essentially going to be like if KEVVY doesn't coach there, it's going to big part of it's going to be Benny Ikin. Because he's not seeing enough from KEVVY, or he's not seeing enough from his support staff. And this is where I show my non-biasty as well. So, you know, obviously I've stuck up for Des recently in chairs and all that sort of stuff. Maybe Des needs a few more people around him too that are going to challenge me. So the big part of like the CEOs sort of come in with Manly and, you know, they want to use the tool by bringing more staff in, and this will be a part of it with Benny as well. You bring in staff that are going to challenge a little bit of like, but then at the end of the day, they could potentially be used as pawns and like rats. So like once you don't have control of like who your guys are and their assistant coaches in there, those guys could be reporting back to the fucking general manager, to the CEO, to the owners and all that sort of thing.
And that's why
this is the politics of rugby league.
Yeah, and that's why coaches want their own in because they don't feel like they're getting backstabbed and like, you know, because they're going to be in the inner sanctum. These guys are in the inner sanctum. If you're an assistant coach, if you're a specialist coach, you know, whatever it is now,
you get everything.
And just say, you know, you're in there. You are everywhere. 100%. So it's just like, imagine if you're just, you know, if Benny Ikin's just hired you, he's in your team now, KEVVY. KEVVY knows that he doesn't trust him. That fucks the whole dynamic of a club up. I don't think they would do that, but I'm just saying, I've seen it done before, and you want people in your team, I'm just saying, as your coaching team, to all have the same goals, is winning and just becoming better and better and better. Not the assistant coach trying to snake the fucking first grade coach to try and get that job.
And players can see it from a mile away.
And players can see it from a mile away because I've seen it happen before. You can see what happened, yeah. And I'm just like, when I'm getting taught, when I'm getting something from the assistant coach, and then we all come back into a group, and then the first grade coach is teaching something totally different. I'm like, why the fuck did we waste half hour on that?
Which one
you know what I mean? Like, you're just doing, you know what I mean? Then I'm like, same fucking page. You know what I'm like? I'm just like, why the fuck would we just do all that? And then we're doing this. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? You know what I mean? I can see that. I could see little things like that with assistant coaches and all that, you know, and then, you know, and it comes into fruition as well because next minute, that dude's a first grade coach.
Scope, do you think, like May's touched on just fresh thinking in terms of getting the right assistants and his way to go, but for the Broncos next year, do you see, if you have to put the old Oracle hat on, do you see KEVVY sticking the year out and him and I can sort of bridging that gap, or do you think that this sort of friction like at this time of the year is too tough to overcome? It's a bold prediction, but I'm just sort of seeing where you're going with it.
Yeah, I can't see KEVVY going past the contract that he's on.
If not KEVVY, then who?
Has KEVVY got 1 more year or 2 more years?
They haven't committed beyond 2025, I don't believe. So he's got
2025, 2 years, yeah.
I mean,
but Gordy's best point was a couple of weeks ago when he talked about the Tigers situation where you just like sack. I agree with him 100% on that. Like, you can't just be sacking these coaches, but. It comes down to a bit of ego.
Sorry, it was a 1 year extension. So the end of 2023.
Well, you got to understand too.
He'll be off contract.
Oh, there you go. I don't think they'll re-sign him. I think he'll be the coach next year, and they won't re-sign him. That's my prediction.
With KEVVY, understand this. Like, he's always been like a really like an assistant coach. He just like not a real assistant coach. He's always been part of a coaching team. Where he's just such a great person to have around.
All the boys loved him.
Everyone loves KEVVY. I love KEVVY, mate. I want to see him succeed as a coach. Because he's always wanted to do. He's always wanted the top job. They've always gone past him. They went to Seabold and all that kind of stuff. Now he's finally got the job. He's 2 years in, and he's finally a first grade coach. give him a little bit of time.
He's got 12 months.
You know what I mean? Like, give him some time. But like, this is the only fucking third year of NRL coaching. He has never coached NRL before.
They doubled their wins from last year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, we went through that last time, but just give KEVVY a chance because he's probably becoming a better coach. He's probably figuring out himself as well because it's fucking easy to be the assistant coach. You don't get any pressure. Wayne always says that. No pressure. You don't face the media. You don't do shit.
Sick when you're assistant coach to Bellamy as well.
You can go there and just have a
I could be assistant to Bellamy.
You know, you can go and have a couple of beers with all the boys and all that kind of stuff and be all boys with with everyone.
Yeah.
And you've got to front the media. You've got to cop the biggest shots ever, especially at that club. That club demands success, and they haven't been up there for a long time. So
I'd give him 12 months. Give him 12 months, have a look at it, reassess. But you wouldn't be signing him anywhere near early in the year.
What happens if they make the top, I don't know, finish top 4?
Then resign him.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, do we just say if KEVVY hasn't changed or evolved as a coach, like whose fault is that? That's why I've got to put accountability on players. I can't. It's not NFL where you just like you're calling plays and you're calling all the shots. Like these players, you just get them ready for that 80-minute battle. Like it's up to the players to perform as well. But I'm not sure. I'm not in that inner sanctum. I'm not sure if KEVVY is preparing them properly, but I'm pretty sure he would be.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on from a coach under pressure scope to a coach who had a bit of a pressure eased over the weekend. That's Brad Arthur. So obviously he got the monkey off the back. They've pushed on to the prelim. The question now becomes: is that a pass mark for the Eels on this year? Finish top 4 and roll into a prelim, or do they need to win this weekend and get into the GF to sort of ease all that pressure on BA? Because it's been the chat every time Parramatta fall at the final hurdle. They say, "Is Brad the guy to lead them forward?" He got through last week. Do you think right now, as it stands, that Parramatta is a pass mark for the season, or do you need to see them in the grand final?
This is where you watch for things too. Like, look for things. I always say there's little hints. You can get little hints without knowing, being inside the inner sanctum. And this is without reaching out to any of the boys. But you can tell the difference between when players stick up for, or they say they're going to play hard, like they're playing for the coach. There's a difference between it. And Parra showed through their actions, the way they talked about the situation. BA's right, but it's Parra and Bulldogs. Before Gus got there, where he fucking runs the joint. But Parra, Manly, Brisbane, when there's not a clear-cut guy at the top, and there's proud clubs. All these clubs have been successful at different points of their not for a while. Parramatta, but people want success, and any time there's like a little bit of BA's record comes up. So the people in and around that want to be involved or want to have more say, that's when they start, all right,
whispering.
Let's do a review of the fucking 18s, 20s and what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Check BA's record speaks for itself. Yeah, you might say that he hasn't got the job done, but remember, they were fucking dead last before they got there. They've pretty much been relevant every year, like playing
4 years. Last 4 years they've been up there. It's been a bee's dick off just
2 points last year against Penrith in that
couple of little.
They were a hooker away from winning that game. They had Ray Stone at hooker.
Yeah.
Because fucking Reid Marnie did his ACL.
Yeah, but even Moses getting taken out and they could have evened it up. You know what I mean? They could have won that game. They'll be filthy on that. And I think it's a pass mark for BA. He copped some unnecessary bullshit. Or because they're a little bit inconsistent. Parramatta as a club and as a team all year. They can't win more than 3. And they end up losing that 4th.
You know what he doesn't get enough credit for, Mace? And this is what when you think of Bellamy and probably not as much Robinson, but more Bellamy, people always talk about the development, how players go there and play better. Gutho was on the outer at Manly, not wanted. He's their captain now. He's probably arguably a top 5 fullback, right?
Yeah.
Mitchy Moses was a prospect that had all the ability in the world, but just couldn't do it consistently at the Tigers. He'd probably be a top 3 halfback, probably top 3, top 4. Isaiah Papali'i was on the scrap heap at the Warriors. He's now the best back row in the comp.
They got him
Junior Paulo left Parra, went to Canberra, sort of come back. He's now one of the best front rowers. Regan Campbell-Gillard was on the outer at Penrith. He doesn't get enough credit for the way he develops some of these players. So
he's turned all those average players into pretty
Sean Lane.
They are.
They've all had mad potential. They're not duds. They've all been good players.
Great take.
But he's developed them into arguably top 5. He's pretty much got a top 5
Reid
player.
Marnie, I never heard of Reid Marnie, and he comes off the scene and they get him from
Where was Reedy at before they got him the Bulldogs?
He's at the Bulldogs,
So he's going back to, obviously going back
we
to
could have got him for nothing, now we pay him 800, it's good.
Oregon.
You win, Reid. See you next preseason.
Murata Niokora, he's going to the Warriors. He's going to get a bit of a pay. Developed him. Oregon Kafusi, he is an underrated part of their bench rotation, which we'll get to a little bit later on. Ray Stone is he goes out there and does a job.
Defensively,
he's heading up to Gold Coast or Redcliffe. Redcliffe, he's going to get a deal up at Redcliffe. Like
even Wonga Blake, Sevo. I mean, you look across the whole side.
And you know what? Generally, it's not really outside. It's within Parramatta.
Penasini,
the big thing.
Penasini's still 19.
Yeah,
he's free go.
Penasini's going to be a good player. It all reverts, and this is the nepotism thing, right? It's the Jakey Arthur. That's the biggest thing. Like that's the elephant in the room for him. And whether you believe that's the right decision or not, for me, it's not. I wouldn't have been playing Jakey unless there was an injury to their halves. So again,
18th man.
No bias towards it. I think he should be 18th, 19th man and come in for if something was to happen. I would have had Brycey Cartwright, who's on the bench this week.
Thank God.
I would have had him a part of the 17 and kept Makahisi Makatoa on the bench.
Or Nathan Brown.
Or Nathan Brown,
I think Brownie, like even him, he's been tremendous. Like he come from the Tigers. Like he wasn't, he had potential, but then like he just played Origin and he was one of their best players for like at least the last 3 years. He's just been a bit injured and he's been, I think, a little bit off him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on.
He just started going a bit sideways. Like he started playing footy.
Yeah, he started being very predictable.
Yeah.
They start game plan for you. And I could see that happening. He just needs to change his game up a little bit, couple of little tweaks here and there. Which that's what happens in coaches and preseason. But once teams start getting that role on what they are now, it's hard to get back into that side. But I still think he should be in that 17. He's good enough and he's got the runs on the board. But you've been involved in Parramatta and Manly.
Yeah.
Are they similar clubs when it comes to board and it comes to the politics and the coaching, the backstabbing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, very different. So completely different in the sense of like. It's yearning for success that they've had, and then like people behind the board who think they've been successful, or on the board, people behind the scenes at Manly who think they've been successful and they're the reason or whatever. Yeah. So essentially, it's the same thing. It's like both the teams, like even the roster, like Manly's roster's probably Parramatta across the board's got a better roster, but Manly's got a good roster when the boys are playing. So if you get like it's one of those clubs you. Like just say,
be like one of
behind
the best.
if you were behind the scenes at the Tigers or whatever, for instance, like you wouldn't be like jumping to get in control, put your name to the Tigers now with the way they are. But you can see that the Eels and Eagles got a team that if they get Eels are still in. They're fucking top 4. Like, but if they'd got knocked out, it would have been the noise would have been fucking deafening
to win this year.
Not deafening.
I mean, I don't think.
Loud
you
as
know
fuck.
what I mean? Like as if they're not thinking, we've got North Queensland here. We can beat these guys. Prelim, anything can happen, and then just roll into like a Penrith or South. I don't think they're really scared of like that many people. That first game against Penrith was just like, fuck, you just got handled big time. But
maybe the Rabbitohs. They probably wouldn't want to play the Rabbitohs.
No, they don't. Rabbits has got them. Rabbits have their measure, but it's going to be a grand final if they ever do meet.
Yeah.
But like, I just think they would learn so much from that first game against Penrith, how Penrith come out with that intensity. And that's the fucking intensity that they come out against Canberra with. You know what I mean? Like, we'll
save that for the breakdown.
Yeah,
we're going to get on the breakdown with it.
I think we're all in agreement that not everyone.
It's a pass mark to BA in my mind.
BA is the top coach. If Parra fuck him off, someone will snap him.
They're in the prelim. Yeah. They've got everyone on board. They've got a full strength team. This is up to the 17 players now. He's prepped them as good as he can. They're fresh as hell. They're coming off a great win. Off a bounce back loss, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else he can do.
Yeah, and like to Scope's point, if for whatever reason they were to part ways with BA, there'd be a fair few other clubs.
He'd be snapped within a month.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, he'd have his pick. All right, let's roll on a little bit of trade rumor stuff, Scope. I know we don't typically dive into this, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Because he's a big name. Obviously, the Dragons are in the process of rebuilding everything. We've seen all the news around Tyrell Sloan trying to get up to Redcliffe, but the biggest rumour at the moment is they are chasing David Fifita for season 2024 onwards. So, interesting little caveat. His partner does play for the Dragons NRLW
Shaylee
side.
Bent, she goes good too. Back row as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see a bit more of that rolling forward, but you never know. But yeah, David Fifita to the Dragons, Scope. Do you like it? Is it a good move for the Dragons or a good move for David?
Depends what the price tag is for Dave. David Fifita is still one of the best back rowers in the game, but when you look at we've broke down the constructs of the salary cap, and man, I just don't think you can pay that much for a back rower. Like even Viliami Kikau, mate. So I don't know what he's reportedly on, but like if you can get if I could get Viliami for like 700, I'd be stoked. If I could get David Fifita for even 700, I'd be stoked. But that $1 million price tag, it's fucking a lot of money for a back rower. And that's any back rower.
Yeah. I think it's a terrible move if he goes to St George. Yeah. They're on the decline. They're not going up. They might lose Ben Hunt.
There's more potential at the Titans.
Yeah, I think so.
Agree.
I think so. Those young bulls that are down there, that pack down in St George is aging. They've probably got 2-3 years left in them at their peak, and they're probably they're not even that good at their peak. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not the formidable pack where you're like, holy shit, like where you've got a team like the Titans where Big Tino, you've got Fodawaker, you've got all these other young bulls coming through.
Jaden Campbell.
You know what I mean? You've got a young squad there. He just needs to perform. You know what I mean?
He played really good footy at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's had lower leg injuries to big boys like that. You lose your power. You know what I mean? So people have got to take into account that. The way he gets coached, I'm still not happy with that. The ball playing is going to improve so much because you're going to have Foz up there with experience leading him around. He'll be hitting holes, getting early ball when he wants early ball. They won't be giving him ball when there's 3 people on him. You know what I mean? There's ways to play that guy, and they need to put him in better positions. And I still think he should be in the lock and then attack wherever he wants. I still think you just can't sit him to one side. He's too damaging. He's got too much skill. I've always been saying this for the last 2 years. You're going to waste the prime of his career. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get the best football out of him right now. He's a young bull. He's fit. He's strong. He's got all the skills. He's got silky skills, man. Like, just because he plays back row, man, he can throw a ball. He's like a Dave Taylor. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he's probably like a...
Yeah, he's
got a better Porky Pig. Like, he's got a better rig. But, he's probably more... Yeah.
He's just more mobile.
Dave was like proper skillful.
Yeah, but so I just think they just limit his talent. You know what I mean? And that's the coaching. So I think... coming down to St George, I don't think he'd like it at all. I think he's a Queensland boy as well. Yeah. He loves all the Queenslanders never leave fucking Queensland because they love all the adulation, being an Origin player and all that shit. No one gives a fuck about you down in Wollongong. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be lucky to even people notice you. So, I think he'll stay in Queensland for that he might go back to the Bronx. He might stay in Redcliffe. He'll just do that little triangle there.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's not a smart move for him. Honestly,
I don't think
they might move. What if they lose Ben Hunt?
Well,
McCullough's going to retire.
Reports yesterday was about Ben Hunt potentially on a move to the Titans as well. They're trying.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, imagine getting
a win now crack. So I don't know how legit that is. That was just yesterday. But if the Titans were to land Ben Hunt,
the Titans had a really bad year. Yeah. They were top 8 last year. Bees Dickoff getting into that.
Paddy Herbert passed away from.
Yeah, exactly. So let's not get it twisted. They played really bad football this year. They look like they were just coasting. Like, if they play to their potential, they're a top 8 team. They are a top 8 team that they underperformed big time this year. They'll be sitting in there. This will be one of the biggest bounce back years I've seen for a while. This could be North Queensland sort of bounce back.
When Titans are starting to have doubts about, just say if this is coming internally as well, where potentially the Titans are having doubts about him, go back and watch Fozzie's form. He spent about 3 weeks with Olakau'atu when Schuster come in and Ches was out during Origin. Yeah. Look at the way he brought Olakau'atu on and the footy that Olakau'atu was playing this year, and even go further back and watch some film if you really want to deep dive. Before Skip got there in 2013, the form that he had Tony Williams in. Yeah. So when Fozzie had guys like Tony Williams, David Fifita, Hamoli Olakau'atu, they're all the same player. They're all big, mobile, and Fozzie brings them onto the ball and gives them one-on-ones, and they play their best footy.
Because they're tough little prick digs into the line.
Put yourself in there too, Scope, in terms of destructive forwards he plays.
Well, yeah, look, he got the best out of Skip, but my ceiling wasn't as high as those boys.
Yeah, so those guys,
I had a limited ceiling.
They're perfect examples. Olakau'atu's game, Tony Williams was a wrecking ball for a couple of years, you know what I mean? And this is probably the youngest he's going to have, of all these players. I mean, Olakau'atu is pretty young, but he was probably not going to spend that much time with him. He had one good year with him. He could have two or three with Big Fifita. So, and his ceiling hasn't even been nowhere near reached.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And I think just the way that Foz plays, he plays direct.
It'd be perfect.
He plays direct, and there's a way that as a ball runner, you want the ball at the right time and get those one-on-ones with those weaker defenders. And he's good at getting at those blokes. He just never gets the ball. You know what I mean? Jaden Campbell gets the ball and he wants his meters. You know what I mean? Pass the big boy the fucking ball. You know what I mean? Who's the Sexton? You know what I mean? He's still learning the game. I'm not going to give up on him yet.
Yeah.
But
Sexton,
fuck me, he's got one
Fozzie
more.
will be good for
he's
Sexton.
got one more year in him.
Yeah.
One more, and then they'll throw him to the scrap heap. That's what the game's like now. He's
100%.
I feel sorry for these young halves. They throw him straight. I mean, but Dearden is your best example of that. Fucking straight in the deep end, Didn't swim that good. Goes up North Queensland, probably the 5'8" of the year.
When you have all these teams that have all the potential in the world and they don't quite hit, or they had a good year and they go, it's really hard to hold your nerve. Like during an off season, you start thinking, "Fuck, do we need to make wholesale changes?" I think they've made really good, crucial changes to positions that they really need. And Sam Verrills and Foz, I think they'll really give him that leadership. Like
everything.
They're winners. They've both won comps.
Direction.
And direction. Like once Verrills will get him. Verrills is fucking.
They'll teach
so
him how to be
underrated,
pros, man.
Yeah.
They'll teach him how to be a pro. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just coming from those clubs where Foz has been at the Bulldogs, he's been at Manly when they're at their best. You know, Verrills has been at the Roosters his whole career. They have very professional clubs. He will teach all these young kids how to act, how to be, you know, on and off the field, to be a pro 24/7. You've got to be that now.
They're an unfit team, and Verrills wins everything. So Verrills is going to go up there and win all the testing, take on guys like Brimo who are already winning everything up there, and then people in the forward pack. If you're not fucking, when it's distant second, you start going, fuck. For instance, you know, it was really good. Like Timmy Manor was like that at Parramatta, right? Whenever it come to testing. And this is not Timmy's fault, but he could make you look real bad because he worked his cunt out. Like, he won everything. So it made you lift your game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, Hindy was obviously there. He's one of the fittest ever. So when you're guys coming through in the forward pack in particular, Verrills will be good for him. Like, Aaron Clark's going to have to, you know, his 13 role was fucking perfect last year. So if he either gets that right, 13 or 14 role, whatever he ends up playing, because he's not going to be the 9 now with Verrills, but like he's going to have to be fitter. Tino will probably be like Tino's always up the front. So all these sorts of things, like this is the beauty of like
what Lasoni, all
it's
those
what Finucane and
to.
McInnes done at Cronulla. You look at guys that they were as much as I liked the talent that was at Cronulla last year, they had guys that were just like turn up one week, wouldn't turn up the other week. But when you got Finucane and McInnes in the team.
Week in,
fucking
week out.
One game away from a preliminary final, like
Royce Hunt and Hamlin.
Exactly,
they had
playing, and they're
consistent.
They'll be playing the World Cups this year.
Yeah, and they deserve to because they've had fucking mad years and they've been heaps consistent, and you can tell they've been training their cunts out because they've had guys like Finucane and McInnes in the squad.
All right, well, let's roll. We've got two more before we get to the preview. Really quick, I don't know how much long time you want to spend on it, but the Prime Minister's squad did get announced. Were there any surprises in their scope? I'll run through the team for you really quick. We got Dane Laurie, Josh Adokar, Selwyn Cobbo and Zach Lomax in the centres. Jojo Fifita was a surprise on the wing. Matty Burton Cherry in the halves. Tino, Ben Hunt, Flegler. The back row is Butcher, Crichton, Josh King. On the bench, Maxi King, Bo Firma, Simpkin, Luke Garner, Josh Mudders Curran, shout out to the Warriors, and Jake Avarillo with Sammy Walker.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple of stories. My whole career, I never ever, in my prime, I never ever wanted to play in this game. Ever. And I succeeded in it because I was always in the semi-finals and I was always in the Aussie team. I didn't have to play in this shit because apparently it is the fucking hardest game you'll ever play.
Oh, yeah.
Because this game for the Kummels
it helps it's at Suncorp,
This is the grand final. It doesn't matter where it is. They are going to go hard. The fucking way they hit. I was so happy I never had to play in that game because sometimes, you've got to go. You didn't make yourself. No, I'm not playing. I'm already in the Aussie team. You know what I mean? Like, we're lucky because some of these players won't have to play. You know, like
Ches will play.
Ches is playing.
Half an hour.
There's a couple of guys that are pretty much in the team. You know, guys who pretty much the guys who make the last six. They're not going to be in that team. Yeah. But you know, if you're like Fox and you know like Cobbo, the guys that didn't make that, you want to play in that team.
Yeah.
But the forwards are in for a fucking rough day.
So when they pick these teams, it's generally guys that like are in and around selection. That might be Prime Minister 13, but some of it's like a reward for guys that have had probably not going to be like representative players in any other form, like won't make Origin, like guys like Garner, Josh King, guys like this. You reward them for a fucking consistent year.
Maxi King, great year.
Yeah.
And
so these
Josh
guys
King
get rewards for this sort of game, and then obviously the big dogs like probably maybe Angus Crichton, Tino, Benny Hunt, Ches, like they're locks. They'll play for Australia.
That's just all about combinations.
Yeah.
All about combinations.
I'm excited for a few guys. I want to see how Labit backs it up after a really good performance against Viliami Kikau and the Fijian team. One of the player for PNG in that game on the same edge as Justin Olam was that Nixon Put. However you Put. Yeah. So he played really good. So exciting to see how some of these guys go before the World Cup. Mudders Curran in the 18.
Yeah, well, he deserves that.
Yeah,
he had a great year to start to the year, and then they put him on the bench. Then he finished the year off pretty strong.
Yeah, he's a nice player, man.
Both from all. Some guys
even Nat Butcher, he deserves
Nat Butcher. He was outstanding this year, Nat Butcher.
Yeah. Scored 4 of the best against the Tigers.
Yeah. So it is. It's one of those games. I've never had to play, as I said, but it's fucking hard to get up for. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's not that Australian jersey. You know what I mean? It's not the proper real deal one, but that other team over there is playing for their lives. You better come ready. Seriously, apparently, like everyone,
this is their grand final.
Everyone that had to play that game, and I was just lucky enough to be in good sides and in semi-finals, make deep runs and stuff. They're like, fuck this, and it's over in Port Moresby, and the crowd's hostile. They reckon best experience, but just so hard, man. Yeah. Real, every hit's a hit.
Off the back fence every time.
You know, but they're your biggest fans as well.
I think Josh Mansour had a story a couple of years ago, and it might have even been our boy Zach Bailey wrote an amazing piece. Like it was like a follow.
There's some fucking great stories over there. The 05 one that went over there. Rennie, Kirk Gidley. It's one of the greatest tours of all time.
Yeah. Well, if you can find this Joshy Mansour story, he basically wrote a first person piece. Accounting it, so yeah, it's an amazing story. But I agree with Mason.
I think it's like folklore. Because when we went on the Kangaroo tour, they told us about it. I think Craig Gow was the leader because he. So when Pig's your captain, oof, look out! Young Kurt Gidley, young Rennie Matua. It was a good squad. Great Asiri. Mate, I've heard the stories. Oh my goodness!
All right, let's finish off with a little bit of boxing scope because
Beetle Nut was their diet.
Matty Lodge has come out. So obviously Gal did his. We spoke about Gal last week. Did his thing. Beat Benny Hannett. Beat Hodjo. Matty Lodge has now called him out. He said he doesn't want a single dollar. His terms, to give you a bit of context, he wants $1 million to be raised. He wants to donate it to a youth program back in Western Australia where he's from. Venue, he said Bank West or Northies. He doesn't really give a fuck. Matty Lodge wants a crack. What did you make of Matty Lodge calling out Gal?
First of all, why isn't he in that side? Is it because he made was he in this is he
Gordy come out like Gordy doesn't like.
Is he blacklisted? I think he's blacklisted.
He might be blacklisted.
I think he's blacklisted.
Yeah. And it's understandable. Gordy brought up a good point.
Yeah, no, he did. He did bring some really good points. But yeah, I'm not sure. You know, how long do you have to pay your due debt to society before they forgive you? We're just going to be a club player. Is he at that level of playing for Australia?
I think
Prime
he's
Ministers?
close.
I think he has that potential.
So where's that squad? Let's have a look at it. I would have him over, not Tino. 50-50 Flegler? No, I'd still have Flegler over top of him. Yeah, and then the bench is like Luke Garner, Max King. Maxi King had a really good year, but he should be on the bench for him. Yeah. But again, it's like...
I'm just saying, I know when you piss the higher people up who run this game, you never get back in.
He could be blacklisted.
Because as I said, the Australian jersey is something that needs to be respected at the highest regard. And if you do things off the field, that could potentially jeopardise that.
Some things worse than others.
Some things are bigger than the game. And I fucking hate some players that are playing in this game at the moment. You know, like with some of the shit that they've been carrying on with off the field. And I've already said my piece on my podcast a couple of years ago. I've already said it. So there's no point saying it. You know, they pick and choose who they want to put in these sides.
This will be one of the most watched fights in a minute if it happens. I'll say
it'll happen? Because he's got the rematch. He's got the rematch with Hodjo. Because I went up to the fight last week and it was pretty brutal. Like he looked a bit battered. Like Gal goes, fuck, it was harder than I thought. Harder than I thought because they had a fucking red hot crack. Like Benny Hannett had a red hot crack. So did Hodjo. He goes, Hodjo legit dropped me. Yeah. He goes, legit. He goes, I've never been dropped on the field in any other fight. He's fought Mark Hunt, all these big guys. Never been dropped once. Hodjo got him like with a fucking beauty.
Benny Hannett gave him more than he expected.
And Benny Hannett just doesn't fucking stop. That fucking Mutters Hannett.
He's going to lose on points every time, Mutters Hannett.
Yeah, because he's just so tough and you can't knock that. Yeah, you just can't knock him there. He just keeps him close and he just keeps swinging.
Close the distance.
You know, when he went the full rounds, I thought Gal thought he was going to have both of them. But then Hodjo come out fully fresh and he's fucking done this, 4-2s, pretty flat out. The rematch, I don't think it would be a challenge. I think fresh Gal versus fresh Hodjo, it'll be different noise. But it's going to be hard for Gal not to take because the dude doesn't want any money. So he's sort of cornered him, hasn't he?
When Gal also
he looks like if Gal don't take it, Gal's like, well, he looks a bit soft, doesn't he?
A little bit. And Matt Lodge said, basically he said, let me know as soon as possible so I can put the fishing rod down and learn boxing. He goes, I've never sparred. I've never even hit pads. He goes, even for fitness, I've barely even touched the pad.
Really?
But he goes, I'll jump in.
I reckon there would be a little bit. He must have a little bit of.
He's a wild firebrand, that kid, man. He's a wild lunatic. I think he can put a couple together. He just needs to sharpen a few tools up. But different kettle of fish, Gal. You know, if you have never had a fight, and then you fight a person like Gal who's had 20.
Yeah.
You know, so
but
it's a great cause.
Yeah,
I think Gal fired a few shots at him last night. Yeah. 700 to do nothing and all that kind of stuff. I love Gal's little barbs. He just hits you with little
it's even better
ones.
when Gus goes, oh, you know, it's for charity. And
he goes, I don't do anything for charity.
I'm not doing anything for charity.
I fucking love Gal. Gal's all about his paper.
He's the best. I love how he's so upfront with that shit.
Hopefully it happens. I mean, he'll probably fight Hodjo, and if he does the Lodge thing, I think that'll do him.
As far as current NRL players goes, probably makes the most sense. I can't imagine any other current footy player.
Junior Paulo, a rematch against Junior Paulo would be the best.
I don't think he sort of wants these young bulls anymore, man.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want that if you're Gal.
No,
fuck that.
Junior's fucking nice.
Father time catches up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I think it's
and that's not even having a crack at Gal. I'm just saying,
but Gal knows that. That's straight from Gal. Gal goes, you know, Father time. I said, Father time's undefeated, Gal, man. I said, you fucking try and look after that melon of yours and fucking chill out. You know, you've done everything in the game. You've had such a great career and great boxing career. There's nothing else you can do, mate. Just fucking sit there and commentate on the game. Relax for a little bit. He goes, I fucking need it. Yeah. His head was battered the next day too. I was just like, fuck. And his poor little boy there, you know, he's probably doing so his boy don't have to watch his dad do that. Yeah. You know, like it becomes a little bit deeper when you have that. And
he'll be set now, wouldn't he?
Oh, he's fucking loaded. Yeah. He's a king of Cronulla.
He'll be set. That's enough.
Yeah, but he just does it because when we get older, he just wants new challenge, and he fucking just thought, you know, I'm fit, I can fight, I'll just do this. He's made probably more money fucking boxing than he has his whole fucking footy career.
Find new challenges. Come to City to Surf with Skip. That's a challenge. 14K. Running 14K against the civilians.
Yeah. Up the old, what do they call it? Death Road? What's the hill called?
Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah.
That's a cunt of a hill.
Yeah.
Cunt of a hill.
Speaking of heartbreak, NRLW preview. Give us your best scope. Coming.
I watched a couple of games on the weekend.
Oh, grouse! That was good to know all on the Sunday, eh?
You got me into it.
So I wrote down: can the Eels pull off a Roosters? They're going to be playing Roosters versus Eels, first versus fourth, Knights versus Dragons. But let's get into the Roosters. So this is happy for the Eels girls. It was a revenge game for them.
Who'd they play?
They beat the Broncos, and the Broncos knocked them out last year.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Bronx
of the year.
lost a lot of players. Everyone's going, oh my God, the Bronx. Hey, they took about 5 of their best players and shared them around.
Millie Boyle, Tamika Upton, a few others.
Tamika Upton's a gun.
They deserved it too, and I think Tiana Penatani might be missing as well. She looked to have done her quad, I think, so that'll be a big out. But the Roosters should be clear favourites. They were able to rest a few vets. Their fullback Sam Bremner, blood a few rookies. Jada Taylor looked really good. Shout out to our girl Olivia Koenig, who fucks with YKTR. She's got the She Knows kit. She did a little nice little grouse little no looker too, mate. Caught it. You know, the one with the sweep in behind.
I saw it. I saw it.
A little Jada Taylor. It was silky.
That was a little hang play.
Yeah.
It was a hang play.
Yeah, a little hang.
I said, you fucking little hang play.
Yeah.
See, the little things like, little things like that, which are basic for like NRL players, but every defender will read a hang play. That's the shit that you could put in the women's game on that edge, right in that perfect time. And if you can fucking nail that, square up a little bit, get that center running on the out, and then you get the other one just off the hang. It'll work every fucking time if you work on it. Just that one little play. Because they're obviously, you know, not at our level yet. You can have these little trick plays where that'll get you over the line, especially a hang play. Hang play. Joey used to love a hang play back in the late 90s, 2000s because no one was onto it.
No one had seen it.
You know what I mean? BK used to come off it. It's like, fuck, no one's seen this. Gidley would be going out and then fucking boom, BK straight away. And you could run so many things off it because if the centre comes in, he hits Gids on the out ball. Little flick to Tahu. It was double fucking, you know what I mean? So because he was so good with the ball, he could flick it just because. Like Joey's hands, everyone thinks you need to have big hands. His fucking hands are probably as big as my palm. But yet he can throw a fucking laser left to right and right to left, like 30, 40 metres easily. You know what I mean? But like, so he could just hold it there and just like either go bang, hit kids on the out ball or little pump off your hip. You know, like Rabbitohs used to score tries off like that. Yeah, man. That little hang, when I said, he's a fucking hang play. I haven't seen that for 20 years.
Hey, it's not called the Joey anymore. It's called the Koenig.
Yeah. Some of the stats I saw that. Charrington.
Bruh, there's some of the girls.
That's 240 fucking metres game.
Millie Boyle averages 200. Like 15 carries, 200. fucking 30 tackles. Like this is what I talk about, mate. So you can identify like some.
There's
so even though she was a rookie, Jada Taylor was jam at $2.80. I had a piece of that, mate. Sort of a little hang play. I had a piece of that. Yeah, she's a gun in the under-19s. I knew she was going to get over.
It was a rookie game, wasn't it?
It's a first game. But if you pay attention to the girls' game, you know she's different.
Yeah. She can play.
But it's a sign of a good team, mate.
It wasn't even a perfect ball, too.
Nah,
she had to grab it like that.
She's a try scorer.
Back was like that.
Any half break, she's a try scorer. She'll pop up. She's like the Pappy. She's like the Pappy version of the NRLW. She'll be like that. It's a sign of a good team, though, for the Roosters, mates, for me. That's what I wrote down after I seen it. The fact that Roosters, they've got pretty much every game, they might have one or two trick plays, whether it's hang play, whether it's a scrum play.
Who's their coach?
Not too sure. I don't know what his name is, but it's just because they've got everything else is sorted. Like, they're so dominant across the field that they can practice trick plays.
And their centres are dynamite too, because who's their centre?
Surgis
Kelly
and
Surgis. Like, because if they run their right lines and hold width, there's always going to be holes around the edge.
Their coaches
they rack up about fucking 152.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying if they hold their width, the holes are going to be around the 4-man and the 3-man.
Their coach is John Strange, used to be with Central Coast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Knights versus Dragons, second versus third. So it's almost like a Roosters Rabbitohs from a couple of weeks ago. They play last round and they play first week of finals. So I think Sowie didn't show all his cards. He played a few different players out of position. And Skip took advantage of that. You seen Fui Moana was playing centres, so Skip got on that for a bit of fucking first try scorer because she hasn't scored in the NRLW, mate.
You don't need to do this show. She
hasn't scored on NRLW because she plays 6 for him. And she's what's his the
Tyrell
Fui Moana's
sister,
but she plays 6 and she's more a distributor. But I knew
I think that's
Tonegato's awesome
Rennie's
at bringing her
cousin
centres
as well.
onto it.
Rennie's
Yeah. Anyway, she went over, scored first. That was jam. But like Sowie mixed a few up. He had Keely Davis, their starting 9 on the bench. Kezzy Apps didn't play. But the Knights, they won the mental edge because they really kicked away with the game.
Why didn't Kezzy Apps play? Was she injured?
Rested. Because no matter what, they were going to play second versus third anyway.
Right, okay.
So Sowie rested a couple of them, I believe. Full strength, though, Knights would be my favourites because Tamika Upton, the gun from Broncos, is now at the Knights. She didn't play as well.
And Millie as well.
They don't really have any holes. I really like this girl. She comes over. I haven't got on it yet, but I'm going to be chasing it. Maybe next year I'll look at it. Manzelman comes over off the bench. She plays like who's like a 14, like a small 14 that comes over and causes havoc, like a Craig Wing of old.
I was going to say
like a Wingy of old sort of thing. She comes on in the second half or after
change of tempo.
Yeah, who is the starting 9? It's Higgins. Higgins is the starting 9. She takes the sting out of it, and then she sort of comes on and slice and dice. But I also like the back rows as well. Underrated back rows. Romy Teitzel, she used to be fullback or centre for him last year, I believe, in Clydesdale. So I think Knights will get the job done. I think it'll be Knights. Roosters grand final going in next week.
Be nice.
But that is the NRLW. Good luck to the girls playing this week, and commiserations to the Broncos and Titans girls. Broncos.
Bulldogs, they're in the grand final, reserve grade.
Are they?
Against Penrith.
Yeah.
So well done, boys.
Yeah, they are.
Shout out.
Yep.
Yeah,
all the Penrith juniors are in the
shit production line.
Scope, we asked, Mace, we didn't bring it up the other week, but the last round of the NRL season when Penrith rested all their players. So they had no reserve grade side, obviously, because all of them had come up. So their FLEGG boys came up and won the first round of finals.
Yeah. You understand, like FLEGG's 21 up to 21.
It was the first round of finals. It was too.
Played their first game.
That's my dad's team. Yeah. My dad coaches FLEGG as an advisor for FLEGG.
So FLEGG goes to 21s now. So it's, if you got some real grown-ass men there. Haven't just got like 18, 19-year-olds. So the kids are ready for reserve grade. They just sort of, the good kids come up and back, up and back, up and back. Even from SG Ball. You can go SG Ball's to 19s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did they push that all because of COVID?
Yeah, because of COVID, because a lot of kids missed out. So they're trying to trying to make it up so no kid really misses out.
Will they keep it there, I suppose? I
don't think it's anything wrong with it. You know what I mean? I like the 21s in FLEGG.
21's a good
because I don't think, people can't make the jump like when you're 18, 19 straight to first grade. They need a couple of years to play reserve grade. And 19s, reserve grade, maybe a little bit of first grade for a couple of years until, you just got to cultivate these kids, coach them properly, learn all the fundamentals, all that kind of stuff. By the time you get to first grade, you can make it and you stay there for 10 years instead of coming up and back, up and back, up and back. So I think it's a good system. What they got now, I think their system's good.
I went and watched because my dad is like a mate of mine who I believe he'll probably be he'll be assistant. Good chance he's assistant coach for Penrith next year because
Ciro
and Webster are moving on. Benny Harden got my dad a gig just as like a coach's advisor. Like he sort of looked after Benny when Benny was younger, so he's kind of coming through. So I went out and picked that up from training one day, and I watched their FLEGG versus New South Wales Cup go at each other in opposed captain's run before they played on a Friday night. Fuck, it was so impressive, man. It was so impressive. Like the levels are the intensity of a training for a captain's run, or maybe it wasn't captain's run because they were doing a pose. So like they had the bibs on. A few people had bibs on that were injured. They ain't stopping for a while. Penrith ain't stopping for a while.
No, they're not, man. Because it's that like
it was like a first grade.
I spoke to Gus about it, and he goes, "They're doing weights out there at 14 years old. They're ripping into in the gym properly, like 3 sessions a week.
That centre of excellence or whatever they got out there.
Yeah, but they all just come in there. The whole club uses it. You know what I mean? A lot of people are trying to cut and paste what Gus did and what Gus did out there. So it does work. You know, like these kids, they don't want to leave Penrith anymore. No, you're not going to get it. You have to pay overs to get them out here. Usually 100%. when they used to just pick when they're like 18, 19. Now they want to stay there because they know they're winning. But I've been watching a fair bit of young the FLEGG and Harold Matts and SG Ball and that. And I remember I saw fucking Penrith. I was sitting next to Gus. I said, "Is that Penrith's Reggie's?" He goes, "They're FLEGG." And they had the Pig Panther shirts on. They're tight as fuck too. They look good.
Yeah.
I said, they are fucking built. Our boys look like kids. You know what I mean? And they just got out there and monstered them. I was like, wow, there are levels to shit. You know what I mean? And that's them, right?
100%. They're at that level
that's
now.
Where everyone
that's why no one wants to leave. No one wants to leave because when you're there, you train around it.
That's the yardstick now is Penrith. Everything they do, the way that they're bringing their juniors through the production line, the development, the centre of excellence, how they're producing all that, that is the yardstick of the NRL now.
Their first grade squad, Penrith. All of them are legends. All of them are humble. All of them compete hard. Like, there's no fucking... Isaiah Yell's
there's no
best
egos,
lock.
man.
Nathan Cleary's the best player in the world. Like...
He's top 3.
And he's the fucking most humble, nicest cunt ever. Like, they've got it like... Everything about that club at the moment is just like screams 5 year. Remember the start of the year, we were like, are they a dynasty? Like we're sort of talking
Could it
about
be like the new Melbourne? You got to think Melbourne's been dominant since 06.
As long as you've got Ivan and Nate, that's 10 years of like...
But I'm just talking about that production line.
Well,
you know, like you got to give credit to what Melbourne's done with no production line. We're just like buying here, trying to get those players coming through. You know, like from Brisbane, to even get a Harry Grant, a Brandon Smith, even like Munster. You know what I mean? To get those guys to even add on to that. You know, when you first got that nucleus of the Cooper Cronk, Cam Smith, GI, Izzy, all those sort of blokes, and then just to keep filling off spots, and you know that they've probably come back to the pack a little bit now. And I just think Penrith, they're not stopping.
They're not stopping.
I mean, look, grand final, win a grand final, they're probably potentially getting another grand final. And who says they're not going to do it again next year? It's going to be like that sort of...
and if you're an 18-year-old kid in New South Wales and you got the option to go to Penrith or PARRA or St. George...
all other teams is going to get Penrith's dregs. The kids that they might, because you can't, it's just like Newcastle. You can't have everyone in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So you're just going to go, well, this kid might be getting a start. And he could be a diamond.
Yeah, he could be a gun.
He could be a gun.
A lot of them, they'll lose some good ones.
They will lose some good ones. And that's just going to be up to the great development officers out and good recruiters at other clubs to get those kids, identify them at 17, 18. Well, he's not really starting, all that kind of stuff. And then you'll get him. And he could be a rock star because he's come through that system, you know, so... It's going to be a little bit of a gold mine out there for recruiters because they are developing their players out there so good and they're coming through such good systems, but easier said than done.
All right. Well, we've kind of jumped over, but let's start with the first game, Skip. Friday night, prelim final. The Cowboys are hosting the Parramatta Eels. We spoke a little bit about Parramatta off the top. Lukey Stowe will be up there as well. So if you see
Lukey Stowe, get the weather up. Get the weather up for me,
Get the weather up, Lukey.
30 degrees
at 9 a.m.
What?
70% humidity. So my X factors, mates, my X factors are the fullbacks. The fullbacks. Every cunt's going to be gassed. There's going to be holes everywhere. How Gutho and Drinky pop up all over the field is going to determine. And so what I did was, Mace, I went to look back at the game at Darwin. I went and rewatched the game at Darwin, and it was typical PARRA during that period. They didn't respect the Cowboys at all. It's like they didn't respect the Tigers. They didn't. I think a lot of people, even myself at that time, thought, Cowboys have started the year right, but they'll drop off eventually. That's the way I viewed them. They obviously haven't. We had someone reach out to us last week and say there was no Cowboys chat. We didn't have to. You boys were through. We're more of a preview. Your boys are going to be sweet. We'll touch on them a little bit now.
Perfect day, sorry.
Yeah, and this suits your boys to a T, by the way, because last time they played in Darwin was similar conditions. So the scoreline blew out in the last 10 minutes. There was 3 tries in the last 10 minutes. But it was a closer game than a lot of people think. It was like no try until the 30th minute, and then Felt scored. I think he scored a double pretty early. Drinky or Val kicked a field goal. It ended up being like 35-4 or something, Lukey, something around that. Yeah. But it was closer than a lot of people think because they scored 3 tries in the last 10 minutes. And then and guess what happened? This is, again, sums up Parramatta at the time. Parramatta come out and beat Penrith next week after that. They lost 35-4 to the Cowboys. They come out and beat Penrith next week, and the first time Penrith have been beaten in a minute. So this is a game I talked about maybe last week or the week before. I think Parra's bench rotation could cost them this week. The conditions, 1, Cowboys bench, 2, and the fact that it's a big game, you need, like, I'm so much higher on benches than I think a lot of people are. I think they win your competitions. The Cowboys will use the full array, except for they got Hamiso, right? So he's their swingman. But Parramatta, if you watch them closely, depending on because the game blew out, they end up getting some more minutes into Jakey Arthur come on for a head knock for, was it Moses at one point that went off, Lukey? Someone went off for a little bit for 15 minutes. HIA, come back on. So they end up coming on. But BA he uses the same 15. And this week he uses Oregon Kafusi and who's the other one? Niokore. So Niokore will probably start again because he starts over Maddo, takes a sting out of it. Maddo and that come on. So Oregon Kafusi gives Junior Paulo a spray for a bit. Junior comes off, and then he comes back on and gives Regan Campbell-Gillard a spray.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Cowboys don't do that. They bring on 2 fresh fucking front rowers, and they go as good as Junior and Regan Campbell-Gillard are.
Is it Name? Name and Hess come on.
Griffin Neem.
Neem, is it? Yeah.
Griffin Neem.
And Luch comes on for Tommy Gilbert.
Yep. And sometimes they even swap where like Luch might start, and they bring Tom Gilbert off the bench and he plays through the front row.
And even you bring Taumalolo off at 50 minutes and you put Luch at like just in the middle of Cohen. They've got such a good rotation. I just think there's such big bodies. Campbell-Gillard and Paulo.
I wouldn't be surprised if Welcome Back Cotter comes off the pine.
Sean Lane, like Ruben Cotter doesn't stop. Jordan McLean's fit as hell. Taumalolo big minutes all the time. Tommy Gilbert and Nanai, they're all big, mobile, fast, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a fast track up there, very fast track. And it's going to be lightning speed. It's going to be fucking humid as well.
When they throw
Junior Paulo and Campbell-Gillard, you know what I mean? You can blow that middle you can get through the middle there. You can make Marnie make about 60 tackles. That would be my plan. Getting Paulo in tackles, Campbell-Gillard. Campbell-Gillard loves attack. But these boys, if you put them on the other side in defence, they're nowhere near as effective because they don't hit that hard.
Love that. So this is my thing. When I was looking at the Cowboys and assessing all 4 teams this week, for me, and this is due to Penrith's success this year, and maybe South and Parramatta just don't have it, Cowboys are able to win in multiple ways.
Yes.
Cowboys can come from behind. They can have a big lead. They can hold a lead. They can be front runners and kick away. They've proven it all this year. Like, look at the Sharks game in particular, like the way that that game sort of went try for try. They can do that. Whereas I think South and Parramatta, they've got to really be in a dogfight, and it's got to be even, or they've got to be front runners. And same as Penrith, due to Penrith being so dominant, this is the thing, right? If they end up coming against Cowboys next week, or just say Souths get off to a 12-point lead, 14-point lead, they haven't been in that situation that much where they've been behind enough to go like, Penrith. Fuck, are we still going to kick to the corners and rely on our game? And Cowboys are the one team that they do that, and they don't do it by being willy-nilly, mate. It's like I've watched them a few times. They still just kick to corners, chase hard, do all the little things right, but they've got so much belief in their system. Todd Payton's done such a good job that they honestly believe I've watched in so many games where I'm like, Cowboys can win here. They might be down by 12. And then, even in that Tigers game, whether you believe about it, they don't get phased, man. They don't get phased. So very dangerous.
That belief system that they do have in there, that hooker, Robson's
a gun.
He's a top 3, top 5 hooker in the world at the moment.
Damien Cook last night called him a top 3 hooker in the NRL.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be saying that if I was Cookie. He might take your fucking World Cup spot. You know what I mean? That's how good he is. Especially if they get to the GF. Taumalolo's on another level. Cotter just does not stop, and he ball plays through the middle as well. Jordan McLean's a big body, does all those Melbourne little things, all the little 1%. He doesn't miss much. He runs
He's
hard.
a later line guy.
He just lays the line. He's developing a little tip on. They've just got a really good system what they work for. Nanai just hits.
Nanai's a freak.
If you give him open ball, he's gonna hit you with an out ball or take you out and then bring you back in. Like he's got all these moves. He's got a flick pass. You got Petahiku who's on fire. Val Holmes on that other side. Felt Tuolangi. And then you got Drinkwater out the back, just controlling all that energy. And 30 degrees, I just don't think the big boys at Parramatta, they'll be fucking filthy that they're playing up there. You know what I mean? Why? Like I thought you only get the home ground advantage after the first final.
I thought it was that too. I thought it was. I thought
you just get the first. Why are they playing up in North Queensland?
If you finish 1-2 and you win, you get home.
I didn't realise you get
two home grounds.
Yeah.
Fuck,
that's mad.
That's why they say finish in the top 4.
I like it.
I like it because elements need to come into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think it favours North Queensland. I just think they have the all-round side. I said it I reckon 10 weeks ago. I said the only team that can beat Penrith if they're on is North Queensland. And I still believe that. And I mean, Parramatta, I'm only going off the elements here. I just think Junior Paulo and Regan Campbell-Gillard, if they get 50-50 or if it's 60-40, they'll blow out. Even though they do have big motors, you know what I mean? Their energy, their runs won't be as hard. The way that these little guys cotter, they hit you around the fucking hips, you know what I mean?
They do whole pre-seasons in this weather.
Yeah, they hit hard, but they hit effectively. If you're a bigger guy, guys like Cotter and that, I don't want to run at him. Gilbert, I don't really want to run at him. Robson hits like a little fucking truck.
Yes.
Jordan McLean hits good. Like they all got fucking proper hitters where Campbell-Gillard, who runs very upright, you saw it against fucking Penrith, Leota, Fisher-Harris,
Mitch Kenny,
boom, boom, boom. He's a tough guy, Campbell-Gillard. But as I said, if it's 50-50 or 60-40 sort of possession and Cowboys are dominant, he's going to have to be working his ass off in the middle. And I don't have faith in that bench coming on and just replicating what he started. And just say if they don't get off to a good start, are you going to fucking change the game? No. If Paulo and Campbell-Gillard don't really fucking set the world on fire in the first 15, 20 minutes, the bench ain't doing shit. Sean Lane, you see what happened to him in the first game. You take Dylan Brown out of the game, he don't get the ball because he doesn't come off his edge. Last week he did because Dylan Brown got 300 fucking metres gained.
Shout out to Dillbags, 329 on the best.
320 metres, you know what I mean? Like, and then that coincided with Sean Lane making 220. Do you know what I mean? So, but their whole game plan, I'm taking out fucking Dylan Brown. Full on inside pressure. Fucking straight at Moses and Dylan Brown. That right edge is going to be fucking ruthless. Nanai's got that fucking speed. Hiku defends well. You got Dearden maybe on that edge or Townsend. You know what I mean? They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Dylan. They want Dylan just to be catching and passing. They don't want him to fucking run because look what he does when he runs. And then on that other side, you want Mitch Moses to run because they'll be trying to fucking don't think that, as I said, if he's playing, if he's out there, don't think he's not going to get 100 bodies getting thrown at him. Canberra didn't do that. They didn't do it. They didn't do it.
They didn't really pump up as much as I thought.
It was. I mean, they played their grand final the week before, I think.
What about the decision from Canberra? I know that, we spoke about it last week because I said, would they target Wonga Blake with the aerial assault?
No, they don't have it. I told you they didn't have it in them. They didn't have it in their arsenal. Fogarty and thing like that.
You know, like as if you wouldn't have been practicing that all week.
So that's not a crack at Whiten and Fogarty. No. That is just Nath is that much better than anyone. And to be fair, Dearden and
they don't really have it in the
Townsend aren't going to do it either. Drinky's got a nice little spiral on him, and maybe Val might get him for a kick.
I think
but
Val will.
No one's going to compare to Nath. Like the Prince is the Prince.
I don't think Wonga Blake's going to cop that.
There's only Matty Burton, sorry.
Until he hits, but he's a left-footed Matty Burton. Yeah. So
but in terms of people in the league that can do it, it's only Nathan Burton.
There's only two. I just think this game, it'll be tough, but I think the elements are going to play big time.
Just on those elements, Mace, does that then...
because the ball becomes fucking slippery when it goes up there. I played 1 year up there.
Awful.
And it's beautiful, but just say during the day, it's hot as fuck, might be a little bit of rain just in the morning, the humidity comes up, that ball's like a fucking cake of soap, gets fucking hot. It's 30 degrees. That's hot, man. It's been what are we sitting down here? We got a day 20 degrees yesterday and it was fucking hot.
It was 30 degrees at 9 a.m. this morning.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So they've got to get out there. I'll be up there about 3 or 4 days. I'll be up there fucking now.
In 2014, the last round we played the Cowboys and we were first equal and we needed it to win the minor premiership to get first versus fourth, which was crucial because we ended up playing South, second versus third and losing. And we had to knock off the Cowboys, who were, I don't believe they were in the 8 that year. I could be wrong. Lukey, 2014. We got dusted by the Cowboys. It was it was my 100th. I remember because it was my 100th game, and we played there, and it was like the conditions were fucked. We rested a couple of people too because we had finals locked up. Or someone was
they finished fifth. The Cowboys.
Oh, okay, so they were a good team. Okay, my bad. But they still we were first equal at that point, and we had a better team than we did in 13. But we just ran out of gas. But they they dusted us in the last round. They did it. The scoreline might not have been that, but it felt like it because the conditions were fucked.
The first time I took my 18-month sabbatical after North Queensland in 2010 was because of the fucking weather. I'm not doing pre-seasons at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning and it was 4 degrees. Yeah. I'm like, no way. I'd rather sit in the south of France and just chill.
But they're all different. Reason. They're all young cunts that are hungry. And
this is a different team.
So they've done it this year. Yeah, you had all like mad vets.
We had a great team, but we ended up getting the wooden spoon. It was awesome.
They beat you 30-16.
There you go. I knew it was bad.
Saying, this could get nasty.
30-16 felt.
Try score Justin Horror. Is that?
Only 100th game.
Yeah, baby. I'm not sure. Who do you think? Who are you backing?
I'm going Cowboys. I think Parramatta have a better 1-13. But the bench is really important to me.
I would love to see a Penrith Parra grand final just because of the West. I would love to see that shit and see Parra get beat in the grand final so that fans can just fucking cry for ages again. But I just don't see them getting over this hump. And if they do, they'll be so fucked. And then Penrith, I think, I don't know with that. We'll get into that next game.
Yeah. I'm not confident. I'm not crazy confident.
100% confident because I don't know what fucking Parramatta team turns up. Yeah. And I don't know what sort of North Queensland team turns up because they're pretty even. But I'm just saying, elements, I just think the bench.
The bench is big for me.
The bench is massive. It's a 17-man game now. It's not. But, you don't know. HIA can play a big part. You get 1 or 2 injuries, HIA.
You lose a back, you lose a half, Hamaso comes on. Yeah. Luciano's a starting back row in a lot of teams. Cohen Hess is an origin player. Griffin Neame, you're about to fucking find out about Griffin Neame. He's going to play for the Kiwis this year, he's going to be a household name next year. Their bench is stacked. Marata Niokora I like. Orica Kafusi said I like. Jakey Arthur's probably a year away. Brycey Cartwright's got X Factor, but he hasn't played a lot of footy. They're all seasoned. Like, Cowboys have used the same 21, 22 players for the whole year, it feels like. Yeah. That's how you stay fit, you stay healthy, and everyone's seasoned
Val
and ready to go.
Who's your X factor in that team? Val Holmes is mine, man.
For me, it's the fullbacks, but Val Holmes he could be crucial with his kicking.
He's on another level. He's kicking. But the way he's hitting those holes, man, you've got to put your body in front. I mean, who's he up against? Penasini or Opacek?
Penasini.
It'd be Penasini, yeah.
Yeah.
Who, Penasini? That's right. So that's why the bench is weird.
What's that? Sorry, that Luke?
He's here. Yeah, he was. And I don't reckon if he does play, he ain't coming back at 100. So if Val Holmes is going to run outside in lines or out balls, he's going to get caught in his chair.
Oh no! I'll tell you what happens if Opacich is out. Wonga Blake will go to left centre.
They want
Penasini will stay over there, and Bailey Simonson will come onto the right wing. Oh, Marata Niokora, because they need that rotation through the middle because they like bringing.
Niokora starts off good, and that's the only reason why. Because their bench, they don't. Yeah, Matto stays. Yeah, he plays good when he comes off the bench. You could actually start Matt. I wouldn't have a problem starting him, but he doesn't do those tough runs like Niokora. In his little bit of space, he wants the fancy offloads and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't play like that. Where Niokora loves contact. He just fucking wants that. And you need that in playoffs.
I'm with you.
You can't have dudes looking for fucking early offloads when you just need to set the tone.
I think the Cowboys pip him. I think Val Holmes will be man of the match. I think he's just on another level right now. Let's roll on to the big one then, Scope.
Massive fucking
final Saturday. Accor Stadium, Panthers are favourites taking on South Sydney. The Lions -8.5. The over-under, Scope, it's 41.5. You've been on Souths for a minute. We've kept receipts. They were your grand final pick. What'd you get them at?
29s.
29s. A few weeks ago.
29s, mate. Got him in week 12. I got him in week 12 before Latrell come back. And this is why I love what Joey said about Lockie Ellis. Joey come out and stuck up for Lockie Ellis and said he's the best defensive half in the comp. He probably forgot about Prince there for a little bit. And this is respectfully to Joey. There's a guy called Nathan Cleary that he's playing against. He's pretty good as well. But Lockie Elias, the reason I wrote this down is Lockie Elias copped a bit of shit a couple of weeks ago. He had a few bad reads against Angus Crichton, went over and scored a couple of tries, and the Roosters really targeted him. You know who's important for him? You know who's important for him? And he wasn't in either of those games? Campbell Graham, man. Yep. Campbell Graham is an aggressive, underrated centre. So what Lockie Ilias does really well, he's got really good tackle technique. Like he's a guy that because he's short and stocky, he's not a half that either has to jump up and hit you or get real low and dip. He just stands nice and square, waits to the very last minute and just chops. Yeah. Like I seen him again when we talked about. I played with. We've seen Trell Mid again at golf on Monday again, and again I'm Skip's playing too much golf, but Lockie was with him.
Fucking so's Trell.
Yeah, Trell's playing a lot of golf. It's working. It's working for both of us. But I seen Lockie. Lockie was there.
Fuck off, you did.
I did. I swear to God.
No, you did. What are the odds?
Yeah, I know. We just ran in. Like obviously we don't play, and I just ran into him when he's out there. And then Lockie was there, and I remember. I just come in for a little embrace. You know, when you see the boys, you come in and you give them a little fucking touch up, and they're like, ooh.
Strong.
He's fucking hard, man. Right. He's I remember I met him at the start of the year. We were again. It was the golf invitational. Braith does the invitational with Dimmy at the start of the year, mate.
Yeah, was it.
All that. So I seen Lockie Ilias there, and I embraced him. Then I'm going, fuck, this guy's He's a nugget,
Braith's one of the Braith's little diamonds as well.
Yeah. Braith's doing well.
Oh, Boppy, eh?
He's the Greek too. I think he'll play in the Greek World Cup team. But
he's a little Greek boy.
Yeah, he's going to play in the World Cup.
He's been named, yeah.
Oh, fuck, he'll captain, coach that team. Fuck. Unless Steve Georgialis is coach. He'd be coach, wouldn't he? Georgialis.
Is Georgialis, is he Greek?
He's Greek.
Fuck.
Billy Magoulias is in the team too.
Magoulias?
Nice one side the Greeks.
Yeah, where's Magoulias now? He got a bit... Kempy kept Magoulias going for a minute, eh?
Yeah, why?
Because of the name. He should just scream.
No, so did Freddie. Freddie Filler loved him, man.
Did he?
Loved him, yeah.
He's all right.
Shout out Magoulias.
He's all right. But yeah, so props to obviously Joey giving you a shout out like that. That goes a long way, and that shows a lot of respect.
Good for your confidence.
But like Mace, when I got on him again, leading back to the 29s at about week 12 before Troy would come back, I remember watching them. They had a few inconsistent performances, but I was like, Lockie was a big part of it. I was like, man, as much as I love Ren,
was this when he got dropped after the game?
No, this is just before, so that dented my confidence a little bit. I got in and just
St. George game.
I put him on the week. I think they might have tailed up. It was only the Tigers, but it was an impressive performance by them. I thought at the start of the year they looked a bit clunky on that left edge. What they did was they sorted out. This is when I could be wrong, but Isaiah Tass started coming into that left edge as well.
I like Tass.
Because they mixed around with Campbell Graham playing on the left edge there for a little bit to really solidify that left edge.
Because they just didn't know who that fucking edge was it?
Lockie just didn't know how to link up quite at that point. And now he's got it down pat. He either lets Cam do it and he sits on his edge and he kicks well and he just does everything. He doesn't overcomplicate it anymore. And then I was like, man, if Trell comes back and he's like, I don't know how that hammy's going to be, but if he comes back and he's like 80% of himself,
and Cam Murray plays the way he plays.
Cam Murray's a big indicator. Was killing it.
But he's a big indicator on how Lockie Ilias plays
100%.
Because he can spread that ball. We spoke about it before. Get a little bit wider, get Totola off the back of him. He does those little block, the little block plays, lead, Kalomatangi. He brings everyone on the ball, and Lockie Ilias just has to do his thing.
Yeah.
And he's good at that. He runs hard. You've got to...
Does everything right.
Yeah, but you've got to put your body in front because he's strong as fuck, as you said.
He's got a nice little duck in him too, so he'll run.
Right. Good little dummy, like he's good. So
not afraid of anyone. Yeah, a bit of a Jimmy Maloney sort of little duck, get underneath.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, this is a hard game for me to pick because I just think South might, I don't know, like with Latrell, they'll think this is the grand final. Like this is all right. Well, let's go again. Let's run it back. Now we've got Latrell. You know what I mean?
This is Panthers. All right, Panthers chance to lose.
I think this is. When teams have been real dominant and they just slip up that one fucking game. You know what I mean? South did it a couple of times before the grand final. They got beat by the Roosters when they should have won about 2016 or so. All those sort of things or Melbourne's done it a couple of times. They just lost that prelim.
No one cares because no one remembers it.
I think it might be Penrith's time to lose one.
Eighth has lost 3 games in 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Shit stats.
All right, so for Penrith, a little bit of breakdown on Penrith now.
Who's our man? Who's our...
the X factors are me are the halfbacks for both teams. So
Cody Walker's been low key killing it.
Cody Walker's going to do Cody Walker though, Mace. Yeah, and that's my point, right?
Sorry. I just added on to Penrith's defense and South's attack. They put pressure in defense. They pressure the fuck out of you. That's why Parra looked off that first game because they're always at that level. They know what level to get at in these prelims, the first finals, whatever, and then the grand final. So they know what level to get at. They know they're in a prelim right now. But South still as well. You know what I mean? So this is going to be fucking even as hell, this game.
Penrith,
but the way the inside pressure from the Isaiah Yo's, from the Mitch Kennys, from the fucking Fisher Harrises and Leotas to put pressure on the young kid Ilias and on Cody Walker and all around the back, they work better than anyone in defence. And that'll put pressure. And, and this will be all about adjustments. You know what I mean? Like the depth of Ilias, like the depth of Cody Walker, because they'll be screaming up from the inside, putting pressure on Cody Walker, seeing where Latrelli's out the back when he comes from nowhere. You know what I mean? And just have that, when they fan out on both sides, they look for that sort of shit and they're fucking great at it. So just little indicators like that. And, Penrith will be all over them in defence, just whether they can connect when they do see those wingers come up and in, like Staines. He hasn't played first grade for a while.
I was going to say, is that going to be
so he's going to be big. So he hasn't been. So that the other kid, May, he's been outstanding coming out of yardage, and he's great defensively as well. He's got that real good.
It's a very underrated part of him and Isaac Tungle. So they do a really good job defensively.
Have been defended really good. So Charlie Staines hasn't been in first grade for a whole year. Now all of a sudden you get chucked into prelim. You think they ain't going to that right side a little bit more like they did last week? Tane Milne scored 2 tries. You know what I mean? So like they're gonna have fucking plan B, like because it's all about making adjustments just to see just how quick Penrith are moving. Could be back on the inside, could be like hitting the front guys because they move so quick. They check release quicker than anyone else to try and get you over that sideline, pick you up, drag you over. You know what I mean? I think South might have something up their sleeve.
This is just to Mace's point. What I wrote down. This is perfect too because this is what I wrote down watching the games. Penrith win between the 20s. That's where they do their best work. They win on yardage, their yardage carries, and they win on fucking, we talked about it a couple of weeks and Mace is talking about then picking up, carrying or whatever. When I watched Penrith play against Parramatta the week before, they don't. So they do a really good job of catch and carry and take teams back, but watch them in attack. So if you watch Dill Edwards, just say if May or, so it would be Charlie Staines this week. May's out. It'll be Toto and Charlie Staines. Watch Penrith players get in behind. So as soon as teams, because it's copycat league. They start watching Penrith. They go, all right, now we've got to catch and carry, take them back. Yeah, Penrith get in behind and hold them. And not only so what happens is you get 3 Parramatta players in and they're trying to catch and carry. And Penrith, a player, Dylan Edwards, will get in behind and push him forward. Or Nathan will get in behind and push him forward. And the guy will find his run.
So all their edge players who get back first. Yeah. So like just say
fullback he knocks a player off.
Luai and Cleary, they're always back and they're always like doing that. Knock some player off and he might be out. So they do it.
So if you're Penrith, you do it well because you get 3 people, but it's a slow defensive line. Because they get in behind and push players off, that third person's not getting back. Therefore, the next carry's on the front foot. Bang, quick play the ball. Oh, no, here comes Isaiah Yell, dropping players under, picking, they're on a roll. And then they just put you in the corner,
That's what just say good captains will go to the ref and go, mate, they're pushing
I'd be planting the seed
if you're the captain, and even if you're the, I don't know, if they do a press conference and just say, well, coming out of yardage, they're always because you can't do that.
No,
you can't push other players.
You can push your own player, but you can't push other players.
So they're doing it to both. They're pushing play, and then they're pushing that other guy off. Just real low key. But if you just get the ref to start thinking about it, and then he'll start penalising you. You know what I mean? Like, no, you can't push that. Like you got to plant the seed in the ref's head. Otherwise, they'll just keep getting away with it because no one's onto it unless you know the game. You're just watching the game going, geez, he's just helping him hold his mate up.
I had no idea.
He's pushing people. They're pushing people off.
They're pushing people off. Not everyone gets those.
Because other people are trying to get underhooks and everything like that, trying to put you back. They're pushing that hand down. Yeah. They're pushing the arm back. They're just throwing you off your momentum, which is fucking big. Momentum's big when you got that underhooks. You take one out, you're fucked. And then other guys, they're strong tie on that. They're all just trying to fucking find their front.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at the play that's happening. I always look around. I'm always watching for things outside of it. And you don't have to check stats. Some of these things don't show up in stats, man. If you just
and people
if you're only looking at stats, you don't see this sort of stuff. These little minor things happen.
I had no idea, but as soon as you say it, I can picture in my head Luai every 2 seconds. He's
all the
behind,
time. Always there. Dylan Edwards, big one.
Forward into the ruck.
He'll put you forward into it or push you back. He'll fuck with your momentum. Yeah. That's all he's trying to do. He's just trying to push you off you getting the underhook and getting proper hooks. Like just say when kick-out's got you and they've got you, you're not fucking getting them off. They pick up and drag. So little things like that they need to be wary of and tip the fucking talk to you. Do anything to win this game.
Yeah.
Tip the fucking. They'll be trying to do it to Latrell. They'll be doing it to their back five. All of them. So just like, mate, they can't be pushing us off they can't be pushing us off the play the ball. All these sort of thing. Put in fucking ref's head.
If I was
I'll ring Latrell up now.
Trell Mitt, yeah. Speaking of Trell Mitt, I'm about to get into him. I'll get into like how I think he has to attack this game because he's done a really good job of what he's done this year. People might have noticed it as well. These are another little things. Trell's not a big stats man. He doesn't give a fuck about that stuff, right? So he doesn't, for him to impact a game, he doesn't have to run for 250. He doesn't have to be Tedesco. He does his best work in good ball. And it works for him because it works so well. So what he does is whenever he finds a kick, it might be Tane Milne. Did you see the one with Alex Johnson on the weekend where I think Joey said something in commentary where he sort of was like, just watched it. AJ missed it. It bounced around. They end up getting it out. But like he knows that he just has to be ready for when they get in good ball because he puts the ice on the fucking cake. Like that's his bread and butter.
Ferrari's idling.
The Ferrari's been in the garage, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you, as good as Latrell's been playing, and people see all the good stuff, but like
just pull out the Bugatti.
There's another level. He can for sure go on another level, and this is where he's going to need to do it. Remember the last couple of years, or last year in the finals, Penrith or Melbourne did a really good job on Tommy Turbo because what they're going to do is they're going to try and keep him in the corner. They're going to bomb him. Trell's going to have to do his best work in yardage this week because you know why that's so important, Mace? We talked about Nath before. Tane Milne is going to be in for a fucking proper night because that's where Prince likes going. He likes going to that right wing spot. And I've seen Joey talking about it. It's going to be on kick pressure.
What arm does he carry with left?
This is my point, mate.
That's exactly what you did to Turbo last time because you want him to come out of that corner with his right side so he doesn't have that big palm out. We spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah, but the thing is, right, with Latrell doing this and his yardage carries, because he needs to be really strong in his carries. One, he needs to dent that line that's undentable. And what Penrith do is they do such a good job of making you go away from the middle that you think, fuck, I can't get any joy here. We've got to go around him. You've got to keep punching Penrith in the middle. You've got to keep punching him in the face because you're not going to beat him going around. That's what they want to do. They want you to go around. They want to pick you up. They want to take you out. They want to be aggressive because Jerome and Nath, they're not spots either. They're aggressive in their defence. Isaac Tungle, aggressive. Stephen Crichton is one of the best defensive centres in the competition. They love it. They keep nice and tight and they want you to go around and that's what they do to you. You've got to keep punching him in the mouth. That's why Latrell has to be really good on his kick returns because Nichols, Cam Murray, Jairo and Cookie, anytime Nathan gets a ball inside or around the 40 or 50, they have to be screaming and hitting him. Yep. They have to hit him. If he feels comfortable and he's sitting there and just fucking laying those bombs up, poor Tane Milne, doesn't matter if it's Wonga Blake, Josh Mansour who retired 2 years ago, or Tane Milne this week. It's going to be a fucking massive night.
Josh Mansour could yet be
50-50 for this game?
50-50.
Yeah, he's part of the squad.
I think with they have the biggest job.
He's on the reserves. They're waiting for AJ.
AJ would be massive if he's out, by the way.
For the last 5 years, the middles for South have had the biggest responsibility to get because they have to have onus and they have to own the middle. Penrith own the middle. You know what I mean? Like Totola's going to have a massive job. Fucking Nichols, massive job. Cam Murray, they're not big bodies, man.
They've gone toe to toe with Penrith.
Yeah, they have.
Grand final, prelim.
They have Jai Arrow. You know what I mean? Like Kaloa Matangi. They all have to get in there and play fucking smart football because you can get away. Look how bunched Penrith are. You can just get that wide ball, catch it, see, little tip on to Totola. You know what I mean? Like Cam Murray has to move that ruck around. You know what I mean? You can't just go straight into the teeth of them because they fucking smash you. They do. They hit hard and they hit aggressive. That's what they need to do. And that's what they'll do. Just say with Penrith, we'll kick that way. They want Latrell, and they'll be copy paste what the Roosters did to them a couple of weeks ago. They kicked at Latrell, and they want Latrell to run it back all the time because they want to fatigue him. So when he comes out of yardage and all that kind of stuff, so that is because they just play this little fight the whole time until someone makes a mistake, until you break. Yeah. They'll just keep giving it, and then you won't get good ball Latrell. You know, like as I said, like they'll make him come out of yardage and they'll kick that way and they'll take care of Milne and they'll take care of the other centre. Who's the other centre? Tass on that side. They'll take care of those blokes. You know what I mean?
That's why he has to embrace it though. He has to fucking go hard.
And if they go the other way, you're going to go for AJ. You know what I mean? Like you're not really worried about AJ play 1 or 2. You know, so like Penrith will have a game plan and that's where they get you. You're rarely going to get good shots at them. Because they just try and play this fucking catch. Dylan Edwards will be there'll be massive big pressure on them. Dylan Edwards will catch it on there 20 or 30, get over the halfway, and then it's a cage kick. Catching it in his 10 again, coming out of yardage, catching it again. You know what I mean? And then it's tit for tat until someone breaks. Penrith don't break, and Souths are at that stage now where they're they're tested as well. They've been in prelims. They've been in grand final last year. They know what to do. Some fucking cracking.
South's the one team they've been able to fucking hold their hands up against Penrith for the last 2 years, man. They've been so close.
But their middles know the biggest job is for the middles. They understand that. Cook and like even Havili.
He's a big out. He's a big. Havili's.
Is he out?
Yeah.
He's out.
Why?
Yeah.
He did his groinal quarters.
Oh no, he's been outstanding for him.
Yeah.
Who's on their bench?
Jed Cartwright.
Jed Cartwright.
Jed Cartwright's
he's
all right.
all right.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not going
all
to
right.
bend the line or anything.
No, not like Havili.
No, he's not going to. He don't hit like that because like Havili, he will smack the shit out of like if you Fisher Harris and that run at him, like Fisher Harris should be rather run at Totola or Nichols. Then that little
100%.
fucking Tongan torpedo.
Yeah.
He'll put you straight through your fucking, like he'll put you on your back. Yeah. Like I'd rather run at the biggest bloke on the field than a guy like built like him. He's built to hit me.
They're so hard to tackle too, bro, those little nuggets. Especially for guys like me, even for Mace, like as tall as Mace is. Because they've got the
hip toss.
What they do is they might not run as hard as James Fisher Harris, but what they do is they can run at a medium pace, hit you, drive you, low center of gravity, and if you're like big and tall, they just keep you just fucking.
There's no real estate. There's no real estate to hit when you're 6'5". You're trying to get a little guy, a little bit of late footwork. He's got fucking legs like tree trunks. Like God damn.
If I bend my back too early, bang, get bumped off.
Just like fuck. I just.
Yeah, I think if Havili and Burgess were playing for South, I'd give them a lot better chance. But I think they missed those two in particular on the bench, and that could be the difference. Again, I'm big on benches as you've seen if you're watching Parramatta versus North Queensland preview. I think the same on this game. I think the benches are going to be the difference. Even though I like the benches a lot better than I like Parramatta's bench.
It's a win-win because we're going to have a Sydney team in the grand final.
Yeah,
and if we get a Queensland team in there. There's a win for Queensland.
If I was to rate these teams,
Salmon's an interesting pick on the bench. I mean, he stayed true to it, but
Terry
really versatile as. No, he's versatile.
But I mean, they only bring him on if someone's getting injured or HIA or some shit.
Like
who cares? Yeah.
So every team has a 16-man rotation, and they use a 17th if need be, right? So last week it was Cheekham for Rabbitohs. They only use him if there are injuries. Now Chee's going to have to play a bigger role, or Jed Cartwright. One of them might be the guy. Teriyaki Salmon is the one for Panthers. Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow is the one for the Cowboys. But this is the problem with Parra. They've got two. They'll only be used if like crucial situations and they roll a two-man bench. Well, you need to have a solid three, and then you need to have that guy that.
Just say like a Cam Murray and God forbid, a HIA. A Cook, you know what I mean? Because they come out Penrith at 100 mile an hour. Tackle tech on point, boys. On point. You've got to have it on point because they're trying to hurt you in the first 10 minutes. If I was playing in today's game, it's exactly what I'd be doing.
Yep.
Just going for those bodies that aren't, like the Cam Murrays and Damien Cooks. I want them to come at me at 100 miles an hour so you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
That's the way the game goes. They've got big bodies like Leota and Fisher Harris run fucking hard. So it's going to be interesting. I had South in my head.
I had South before this
until I fucking didn't know how Havili wasn't playing.
I've had South all year before fucking this week. Havili and Burgess, if they had them
massive,
there. I'm telling you, man, I'd be behind the.
They can get through this. I reckon they'll win the grand final.
They'll win the comp.
Yeah, I think it's going to be too hard. I think
so. This is me maybe playing a little bit like reverse psychology.
Hedging your bets.
Yeah, just hedging my bets. It's like, boys, I don't expect it, but if it happens.
Penrith Cowboys, GF.
And it feels like money.
Wait, what about Reedy? Did you see Reedy's last comment?
No.
He said...
Is India now while we're live?
No, Latrell is a bigger superstar than Sonny Bill.
Yeah, I think that was taken.
Was that taken out of context? I won't come at you, Reedy. But be fucking careful with that. Be careful. Because Sonny Bill is worldwide. Yeah. And at his peak, no one was bigger than that kid.
It was based more of he was.
And Latrell's our biggest superstar.
Yeah,
but dude, when Sonny was playing, there was a few superstars rolling around like GI, and he surpassed all those guys. GI, Billy Slater, they had nothing.
It's a different level,
on that stardom level. There was stars like us, and then there was Sonny Bill. You know what I mean? Like he was like he's like there's a like people are like he's got like over 1 million followers on Instagram. He doesn't do anything. Like he doesn't put any footage up or anything like that of him playing. People just know that he's just got that star factor about him. And he's always been like that since day dot.
I went to a dinner with you guys early on when Ren and Tonga, Will Tonga just first come to Parramatta, and they went and caught up with Mace and Sonny. and they're like, "Oh, do you want to come get it?" I think we might have played his Parramatta versus Cowboys, and like, obviously Mace is like, when those two boys rocked up, I was like, because I'm a footy fan, right? And I hated the Bulldogs, but I'm still a massive footy fan. I'm like, fuck, these guys are the big dogs. So I was always grateful to be around them. But then when you meet Mace is like the level, and then you like Sonny's got this different aura.
He's got a bit of aura.
He's got this like. He's like bigger than the game.
Like you want to make him proud.
I don't want to say the wrong thing. Like with Mace, I can have banter with Mace. Like when you meet Mace, like you're like Mace is like a larrikin. He's like you know about Mace. He's got, but Sonny doesn't really say too much as well, which is like it sort of makes you a little bit nervous.
He'll sit there and just like me, SBW, we'll just sit there like now we're close, and we sit there and just laugh about old shit and stuff like that. And he's so reserved. Like the man that he's become is outstanding. You know what I mean? Like with his faith and everything like that. I'm so proud of him. You know, he's just, you know, even just talking to him about like life. You know what I mean? Like we've been through so much together and against, you know, like playing against each other, and we've all come out and we're all pretty, you know, all successful and healthy and everything like that, and got families, and, you know, like just to see him talk and like just his outlook on life compared to 10 years ago, Sonny Bill, compared to what he looks at it now. Like it's just the man that he's grown into. I have so much respect for the kid.
All right, well, let's get
I still call him kid because he's 37, but he's not. I still look at him as like the 18-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Like just the kid making his debut against Parra.
Give us your final grand final predictions, boys. We'll get you out of here. Scope.
God damn.
You're going to go with...
Despite everything that I said,
Parra.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I don't know what I'm doing.
Despite everything that I said,
there's coin flips everywhere.
Parramatta versus South grand final.
That's exactly. I'm North Queensland versus South.
Later. That's the KTR Sports Show.